Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to the virtual show, your source for late night gaming VR talk. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Eric.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Eric? And my good friend Roots. Roots, 'twas the night before Connect,
Mhm.
and all through the house, not a creature was stirring. Especially not Sony. Dear God, did you catch the state of play earlier today? What a steaming pile of dog shit that was.
I did not
State
catch
of
this.
Decay?
Yeah, the state of
Yeah.
decay. I did not catch it, but what I did catch was a very amazing crappy night. Like, yeah, okay, so I don't even know how you catch that, but so I last night I'm getting ready to play some VR, right? And all of a sudden my roommate knocks on my door, and he says, I go to the door. He said, "Dude, I think there's a fire." I said, "What?" So I look up where our smoke detector is supposed to be, and I see a bright red wire. And I said, "Oh shit, it's smoking, right?" So I run downstairs to shut our power off. We call the fire department out. There's wiring issues. I think Scion was out here doing some work or something.
Uh,
And so literally was smoldering in the thing, in the installation. The fire department had cut it out and everything, but long story short, I had no power, no heat. But what I do have is my house and all my stuff, because that's how good God is. Because, like, my roommate literally walked out the door to go smoke a cigarette and saw it. You know what I mean? Like the timing of it all. Another minute, I guarantee our house was burning down. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy. But the good news is I got these emergency candles, and so I lit one up. I was able to sit here. I had to face the candle, but I was able to play VR Resident Evil 4 because I can do shit. I'm in a completely dark, cold house, right? And I know that it was one I turned one time and all of a sudden I had issues, but as long as I was facing the candle, man, I was good, bro. Still able to play VR. I was glad I had the 256. And yeah, that was my exciting night. Eric, I know you have the pretty much a similar story over at Disney World, right? Your house almost burning down, and maybe a little bit more better night. But how's that going for you?
Yeah, yeah, we didn't have any candles. I'm sorry, we ran out of candles. I had to use
The
had to use the resort
electricity.
lighting to play
Yeah, yeah,
to
that's
to
always
play
nice.
on my Quest 2. Yeah.
Mm.
so
I have
check this out. So
fireworks in the
so
background, though.
so Root's house almost burns down. He has to turn the power off, but he doesn't have to miss out on his favorite shit because he has a standalone VR unit. Eric has to be on the road. Not that it's the most terrible thing in the world going to Disney World, but it would suck to have to leave VR for a week for any reason. Luckily, he does not have to do so because he also has standalone VR. Last winter, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Roots. I was out of power for a week in the middle of an ice storm, and I didn't have to ever stop playing. Man, played the whole week. Played more VR, in fact, when the power was off than it was on.
That's
We
more.
live in amazing times.
That was my story too, Wes, because I couldn't do anything else, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like my thing, and not that I wouldn't love to, I was gonna play VR anyway, but it was like, that was once I was in my VR, there was no power outage, dude. It was any other time I had my 10-hour power bank, and I had Resident Evil 4, which I'm just now starting to get into, like really dig into, and it was really cool. It was actually kind of an intimate time of coldness for me. I don't want to repeat it because the worst part of it was seeing that burning red wire and thinking, "Oh God, how much time do I have to put my shoes on, run around the house, and flip the breaker?" Because my thought was that's what needed to happen, and it was crazy. But you know, that's the first world problems I guess we have. I got without power for one day. Wes had to deal with it for a whole week in the middle of a storm. And that was the ironic part. The night before, it was like 2 a.m. I woke up. I thought, oh shit, I forgot to turn the heater on. It was like 51 degrees outside. Hadn't even gotten cold last night. Storm came through. It was raining slash snowing. And it was like 40, 30, 40 degrees, you know? So I was like, yeah, this is the night the power needs to go out.
Mhm. Scary.
Anyway, Facebook Connect excitement. Sony didn't rain on my parade too hard. I didn't really expect much to come out of that. I did have my hopes up that maybe we would get a VR announcement, or even a cool flat announcement would have been cool, but they didn't even have that. It was like it was really one of those why bother state of plays for me. Probably the worst one I've ever seen. But I'm still excited, guys. Roots. I think we're going to get a date for after the fall tomorrow. The Vertigo Games took to Twitter today to tell everyone to get ready.
Mm.
Big news coming tomorrow. So, if nothing else, we have that on the software front.
Yeah. What are the chances? Do you think Technoglitch was predicting? Yes, prediction from Technoglitch that it was going to come out tomorrow. And I told him I don't. Well, actually, he didn't say prediction. He was asking what are the chances. What do you think the chances are? I think it could happen. I mean, I don't know that it's going to happen, but I mean, we've seen crazy stuff like that before, right?
I say 50-50. I say that they could just drop it tomorrow, or they could say tomorrow that it's out in 2 weeks. But I think it'll be like that. I don't think it's a month away at this point. I think it's weeks away at most, and I think that it's just as likely to drop tomorrow as not. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect time for them to do something like this. If they're ever going to do something where they're like, "Hey, here, it's out now. You can go get it right now." This is the time to do it because they're holding stuff. They got rid of all the other stuff out of the way. They have stuff that they want to go with, whether it be hardware and I think some games. So nothing better than to say, "Yep, it's here. Go get it right now." So it's very, very possible that they do that. I'm even thinking they could even do that with hardware. I mean, I mean, we've seen them do this before with hardware where it's not just a pre-order. Go get it right now. If you can order it right now, you can go get it right now, and you'll have it in a week. So, it's possible that that they could do that with hardware and some software.
Wolverazo's got a good point. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be tied to this, but it is going to be on every platform, right? What do you guys think the chances are? They hold it till PSVR 2 drops and they announce it for March. I mean,
That's what they're going to do with. Uh,
that's a long way
that's
to
what.
announce.
Yeah, yeah. That's what they're going to do with Undead Citadel.
I don't know if that
Never
game's ever
coming.
coming out. That's
It's never
conspiracy
coming.
theory.
I would be fine with that
uh,
if that meant I was getting a PSVR 2 in March. Hold that damn thing till March. I'm good with that.
yeah, it seems like a fair trade, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What do you guys think about the and I maybe you haven't seen it, but sadly, but Bradley, or is it sadly it's Bradley, put down some pictures. I guess somebody from Target had shown pictures of big Oculus boxes that have came in with look like they have displays and they've got like a do not open till this date on there. And they didn't say anything about the date. But I mean, if they're in hand, I mean, we're getting close to this pro drop, right? Because it's from Oculus, so.
Yeah, there is another possibility, which I have not seen these pictures. This is the first time hearing of it. But we are just a few weeks out from Black Friday. It's very possible that it could be a large shipment of Oculus Quest 2 with
Hmm.
a special Black Friday display. So,
That's exactly
um,
what he said. Not to get expectations. That's possible that's what it could be. But the Oculus 2 is. I mean, they haven't been in short supply. I mean, I could see them getting the display, but they wouldn't need to be sending them out with a big box separate. But I mean, it is possible. Black Friday is right around the corner, so.
yeah, and this was a hot ticket item last holiday, and it doesn't seem to be cooling down any. It's still just as popular as it was a year ago with the kids. Like, uh, you know, I homeschool my children, but they go to a homeschool co-op with all the other homeschool families in the area, and they have class once a week so that they can socialize. But they didn't do it last year because of the vid, um, and this year they just started going back, and they took a year off, went back, and all of my daughter's friends now, they all have Oculus
Mm.
Quest. They all love it. Like, little did she know, while everyone was apart, everyone was doing the same thing, and that was buying VR. And I hear it all the time. People at work telling me, my kid, that's what they want for Christmas. They want Oculus Quest 2. It's a hot ticket item, so It's very possible that they want to make sure they have as many of those out there as needed. Right? They don't want to leave any sales on the table because no stock was available.
Yeah, true. Delirium Juice says, "Damn, if the Pro's more powerful and better for gaming in meaningful ways, day one purchase, but I highly doubt we'll see a improved gaming headset power wise until next October." But Drew, can't forget ergonomics. That thing looks cool. Like it's going to be a lot less
Yeah.
weight. Looks like it's a lot going to be a lot more comfortable. And who knows what all the other features that are in there. I think Maddie Matt has a very good point. This is my thought right now. Sell your Quest 2s, people. I'm thinking with the Bobo VR, I could probably get 350, 400 for mine, at 256, because I won't need that because the other one's got that built-in uh, Halo, right? So
Right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
speaking of which, Oculus, I talked to Oculus support finally yesterday, and they have agreed to replace my replacement strap. Shout out to Oculus support, awesome as always, completely frictionless as it always is when I deal with them. They're just cool about it, man. They're just going to send me another one.
it's the biggest
Yeah.
thing that I want to say about those straps, because I see in the Quest group all the time people still bitching about the Quest 2 straps. They're broken, exactly like Eric's taped up there. But what we will say, and Eric will even admit it, because it's about that pressure, putting it on there when you're pulling it up and down, up and down. If you don't have, you know what I mean? If you're doing that a lot and you're not taking the time to release the pressure, it's going to put tension on the sides. It's going to crack it. It's not the best design. But if you properly are careful with it, you have less chance of it cracking. And if it does, like Wes just proved, they'll continue to replace it. So it's not really it's a win-win. So
Well, there's a reason why I haven't bought a second Bobo VR. I think that the Elite strap is more comfortable for my head. It works better. Um, so I'm just going to get another one, and as soon as I get it, I'm taping it up. I'm not going to use it like it is. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it
that's a good idea.
before I ever even put it on my head. So hopefully this one will last.
Yeah.
Here's
Well,
what you do too. Kiwi Designs has come out with an Elite head strap that's almost exactly like the one that's from Oculus, but it's got a pivot point right here, okay, and that it will swivel up and down. So it releases all the stress on this part of the headset where this normally cracks, so it
hmm,
actually can swivel up and down. The top strap is big. The back piece is exactly like that. It comes with the foam pad instead of having to buy one. Like this is a VR cover one that I had to buy separately because otherwise you just get that rubber piece. But I have it when this is gone. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go because the Bobo does not fit me great as well either. It does not fit everybody perfect. If it does fit you, that is a great strap to have. But I think the Elite strap by Kiwi is probably the best strap out there right now
hmm.
for the Elite strap style.
Wow, and
Well,
that says a lot from Eric because he's put them all on his head.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I'd be glad to try one of those out, Kiwi. Eric, I was
Hey,
going through my Twitter DMs yesterday, and they have your DMs from people that subscribe or follow you, which comes straight through. But there's another folder that's held for review where people attempt to message you, but they don't follow you, or you don't follow them, or something like that, so it doesn't get through. And I had been collecting messages in there. I had no idea, so I went through there and started looking, and it was literally like 2 years ago or something. Kiwi Designs tried to contact me. They said something like, "We'd like you to try our new VR headset," or something like that. And I never saw it till like yesterday. So sorry, guys. I just now got the message. So
that's
shout
crazy,
out
dude.
Kiwi.
That was delayed,
yeah.
man. I didn't know COVID was delaying the mail that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
man.
That's a big delay.
Yeah,
Let me check it out. It's so hilarious how long ago it was.
that's
Like I didn't
crazy.
even know they'd been around that long.
Yeah. No,
Um,
they've been making accessories for a long time. Them, AMVR, those are two of the biggest.
It's
But
crazy, right? Why is like both of those they put out so many good, like especially the pillows for the things like the CV1. I used the what was the second one you just said? Not Kiwi, but the other one.
AMVR,
Yeah, AIM VR. And so like why can't these companies make their things comfortable? Like, I don't know,
I
man. I
know.
guess it just these companies, the Kiwi and AMVR and all these other ones, they do a good job making these accessories.
It
You know,
was the
Kiwi just stepped it up way big with all their stuff, man. They just everything they make is great now. They really do. I mean, they don't make any bad stuff.
it was December 5th, 2019
Ooh, ooh,
when I
dude,
sent that message.
that was
Dude, your headset's in
literally
the mail.
that was the before time. You can't get any more before time than that. That was like a month before the everything hit the shit fan.
Well, think about this, man. Think about where our channel was at that point. Well, I
No, it's
mean, we
true.
were barely getting started, and these guys are trying to contact us to send us shit. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was still it had progressed to you and me, so the channel had become
right?
almost what it was supposed to be. Now that we got Mash here, it's just perfect.
Yeah. They're like, man, those virtual strangers are high roading us, man. They won't even talk to us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's what. And the funny thing is, that's one of my pet peeves is when I try to contact somebody and they just don't respond. Like, I can take rejection all day, but you just gonna big time me, not even like respond to me. That really gets on my nerves a lot of the time. So,
yeah,
my bad, guys. I just now
Yeah.
saw it.
yeah.
Sorry.
It's crazy.
Well, I know somebody. I'll make a phone call. We'll get a couple of those head strats out. You guys gotta try them out.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I'm all
I
for
like
it.
I
I'm
like the
for it.
cut of your jib, sir. I like that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Anyway, exciting times for VR. We have alluded to it for weeks and weeks now. It's the time is finally at hand, and in more ways than one, this past week we finally got some of the releases that we've been waiting such a long time for. Looking forward to talking about all of that. So why don't we get to it? But before we do that, let's kick it off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. Techno Glitch is in the house. What's up, buddy? I hear you've been making a lot of predictions on the Discord about what's going to go down tomorrow.
Oh
So,
yeah, techno Damus, man. Yeah, after the fall tomorrow. You heard it from Tech today.
yeah, crazy premonition he's having there. Mepper's in the
He's not
house.
buying it though, right? He won't buy it.
Nah, no, of
He said
course
he
not.
wouldn't buy it when it was delayed. He's like, I'm not buying it now.
Wow,
So if
it's
it,
like
well,
fuck
if they
that.
can't get it.
Raza is in the house as he always is. Delirium Drew's hanging out with us tonight. What's up, Drew? Says he's still rocking the Elite battery strap from last January after they started to sell them again. Works great.
Oh
Use
yeah,
it more often than the deluxe audio strap
mm,
with the battery.
yeah, I like that. I miss my Elite strap. That extra 2 hours is nice, right?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
well, it would have been uh, for Resident Evil 4. Like every time I play that game, I run my battery dead. So it'd be cool to have that battery strap.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the worst Resident Evil of the series, right? The fourth one.
It's terrible,
So
terrible. It's
yeah,
just a drain on the battery. It's just horrible.
yeah.
Skiva hanging out with us tonight. What's up, Skeeve? Thanks for stopping by. Zayla Maru is in the house, as is Mr. Tasselhoff. Says second product line, in my opinion. So maybe they're talking about that potential second headset. Scion's in the house. He says, I'm still waiting for Virtual Strangers to get their fourth member, Gabe
Gabe.
Newell.
God,
We said
if we could pull that, dude, we go from zero to hero. Bam.
for sure. So open
I'm
invitation to
thinking
Gabe out
Carmack
there.
instead of Gabe Carmack. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want somebody who's committed to PCVR. So Gabe's the only one left.
Yeah, really.
Mm,
Um, Paul Finnessy joining us says, I have the Kiwi strap. They are good. Excellent. Good to hear. Um, Drew says, I just got the new vented Kiwi face frame and pillows. You can use your VR cover on it and benefit from the vents.
Ooh.
Yeah. Um, I think VR cover just put out a new interface as well that does something similar.
Do you think that new
Um,
headset, the Pro from the design, is going to be cooler on your face too because it's covering less of it? I was looking at that too. That could be a feature.
well, well, this is the thing about the one that they've shown in these leaked videos. It doesn't really look like a gaming headset. It doesn't have a face gasket on it at all. It just kind of hangs in front of your face, and you can see out the sides because there's
Hmm.
no gasket on it at all. So that's what's leading a lot of people to believe that they're going to maybe um, announce two headsets tomorrow. A black one, the one we've seen, that's for social applications and productivity. And then a lot of people are saying that there's going to be another white one, which is gaming focused. And that one will have a similar form factor, but it will be a little different,
Mhm.
optimized for gaming. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
yeah. The one your one you're speaking about, it looks like almost like the Lynx XR1 that yeah, is XR1 the Lynx R1 or XR1 that comes out that has no gasket at all. Basically, it actually does have a gasket that you can use for it, but they always show it without it because that's mainly an AR headset. Which so I don't know, what that foretells, but
you'd switch back and
it
forth.
definitely looks like yeah. I mean, maybe it's something you could do both, but
Maybe it's
yeah,
an answer to the
they definitely
flow,
show it without it.
an answer
Mhm.
to the flow, and a new headset, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
Scion says I need to save my money for Index 2. Yeah, I mean, Index 2 looks really cool. I would like something that has current AAA VR games on it though, so I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Um, I guess it depends on how much it costs. Um, Matty Matt 2323 says there's a fair bit of tension in that strap. There is for sure. Daniel Kaz is in the house. Onakazi with us, as is Dark Angel. VR Demon. What's up, VR Demon? Just got done playing Lust for Darkness, and now I need a shower. I bet you do, bro. Bet you do. Hey, I'm gonna be checking that one out soon. I don't think I'm going. I don't think I'm going to stream it though. We might do a pre-recorded video on that one and edit it down a little bit.
Is it really bad? You could stream it on the Weasel
You,
channel.
you need to
Oh,
stream
dude,
it. Come on, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know that one. It seems a bit dangerous. That one.
Everybody else is editing it out. You got to be the guy that doesn't edit it out.
Just says fuck
Yeah.
it, man.
Tell my wife
Mhm.
that. See
Oh,
what she says.
well, okay.
I'm not getting
So,
involved with that.
okay. So this is the dilemma. Okay. Your kids probably do check your content out, right? And then that's the problem.
Right.
Because you were even
That's the
saying that
entire problem.
that they liked my playthrough of Resident Evil 7. And even though I liked hearing that, part of me went because I cursed so much on that I pulled it off my channel because I was like, I was out of control. My mouth went,
Well, here, let's just do this for a minute. Just as in an exercise. So you tell me, you know, whether or not I should stream this, guys. And this question goes out to those in chat as well. I want to know what you guys think. Let me bring up the Steam page for it here and just read the warning on it to
ooh,
you all.
okay.
Now, keep in mind, again, like Ruuts said, I do have children, and even if they don't watch this stuff this week, they're going to catch it sooner or later. Um, what was it? Lust for
Lust for Darkness. They're discussing that. I guess they're still trying to discuss whether or not After the Fall comes out because of PlayStation VR 2. Wolveraza is making the point that they wouldn't release it with PlayStation VR 1 because of the reloading and everything, and on the old version or the vanilla PlayStation VR. And this is the problem, Wolveraza. Not every game comes out in unison. There is the possibility it drops for everything but PlayStation VR, and it comes out in PlayStation VR 2 in March. I
Yeah.
mean that is a possibility. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but that possibility exists. So
there's no way that they hold that game like
that's not.
it's coming out.
If we were talking a week or two ago, before what you just said at the beginning of the show, Vertigo Games just came out and made this cryptic announcement, like it's here, guys. We're about to release it in March. No, I just said it doesn't match their tweet. So it's coming soon. Now we can argue whether it's going to come out with PSVR 1 or PlayStation 5 VR. That's another discussion. So anyway, sorry.
Right.
Go ahead,
All
Wes.
right. So again, I have children, right? This is the mature content description via the Lust for Darkness VR Steam page. This game is not suitable for viewers under 18 and not appropriate for viewing at work. This game contains nudity, extreme sexual content, sexual violence, frequent violence or gore, body horror, general mature content, sex between people, masturbation, sexual orgies, exhibitionism, sexual toys and machines, dubious consent, bloodied human bodies, sexual penetration of bodily wounds,
Hmm.
castration, sex with hacked pieces of human body, sex with animals and eldritch monsters, implied sex slavery, threatening with rape, dismemberment and devourment of a human body. So, what do you think, guys? Should I stream that?
No, I'll tell
You know,
you why.
he-
I can tell you why you can't stream that one. Okay, first off, you know who would love you to stream it?
My mom!
Second off, I felt uncomfortable with you reading the description. That tells me everything. If it made me feel uncomfortable just hearing the description of what this game is about, one, I decided I'll never play it, and two, I would say what Wes said is exactly why everybody else is curating this the way they are. It's
Right.
you kind of want to be selective on what you want to put out there, but yeah.
Let me be clear. I'm totally going to play it. I'm playing it.
yeah.
I'm not
You had me
streaming
at
it.
sex with like body parts or
Yeah, no, it was no,
dismembered body
it
parts.
was sex with body wounds.
Yeah,
That
That's it.
is
that
it.
too. There were
It
both of
is.
those things.
I
But yeah.
that gives you a mental image that I don't think I'll ever lose. So thank you for that description, Wes. And yeah, I don't think you should stream it. That's my first and final answer.
No wonder why Carbon Studios is like, yeah, we didn't have publishing this. We're gonna give this to our sister studio.
Right,
I
right,
don't know.
right.
Zayla Maru wants to know how you could fit that all in one game. That is, I have one word: talent. And from everything that this is it, man. Like that's gonna push every boundary. If you're into horror and amazing, I mean, that's gonna hit every box. Wes might
It's
come out a
gonna.
different person.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I say it all the time. The reason I love VR horror is because I want to experience things in VR that affect me, that really make me feel something when I play it. And I don't find very many games that do that. So we're going to go off in this different direction and see how that works out.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just live stream it to me and Roots so we can watch it.
Well, I'll keep the. I'll tell you what. If I record it, I'll keep the original
Oh,
unedited version to share with friends. How about that?
I can only imagine what's in that game, dude. Like everything that they listed there is some detailed. They're like, dude, okay, we're gonna make this game. We're gonna put a disclaimer out there so nobody can say shit. You haven't. There's no one can say you didn't know, and that covered every base, I think.
When Akazi says that's some Clive Barker level shit, it absolutely is. I love. I used to love Hellraiser. Like that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was creepy,
Anyway,
dude.
we got three great games to talk about. We've got two great games to give away. Why don't we get to it? Soren says share with Patreon subs. Maybe on a case by case basis by request we'll do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to make any promises until I see what's actually in this game. But maybe we'll do that.
You promised
Hell
to
yeah.
maybe promise.
Yeah. Well, I promise to consider it. How about
Absolutely.
that?
Patreon,
Anyway,
only 18 and over Patreons though. You can't be 18 and under.
right.
Yeah, like isn't
Uh,
Dylan if Dylan joined, I don't think he's 18, so he couldn't do it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Anyway, let's talk some games and let's kick it off by a game that went from zero to hero for me over the course of its promotion, Unplugged VR. This is a game that when I first heard about it, really didn't care for the idea. I didn't think that first of all, I didn't think they'd be able to land a good enough soundtrack to make something like this actually worth playing. But beyond that, I didn't think that hand tracking would have progressed far enough on our current hardware to be able to pull something like this off. Uh, but nonetheless, over time, Vertigo Games gets involved. They do land some outstanding talent to provide a soundtrack for this, and the more and more promo material I see for it, the more and more cool it looks for me. So over time, I was convinced to try it out. And I can't say that I'm sorry that I did. It certainly was an interesting experience. Eric, we'll start with you. What were your very earliest impressions of Unplugged VR?
Yeah, same as you. I was super impressed with the tracking. I mean, I had kind of low expectations for this, so going in, I figured it was going to be, hit or miss, and with a game like this, I mean, I was worried because it's all about the finger tracking, and if you don't have it perfect or right, it's going to be garbage. And so yeah, the first thing I thought was number one, super impressed with the finger tracking. You don't really miss anything at all with finger tracking and not having using any kind of controller here. It's really really good, to the point that I don't use hand tracking at all. Do you guys have that on in your headset? I actually had to go in and
Oh,
physically turn it on because I don't use it, and it's not something I ever cared to have on. So it was like, to even play this, it's like, oh, you need to go in your menu and actually physically turn your hand tracking on. So yeah, because I tried hand tracking when it came out and I wasn't impressed. I'm like, okay, this is something I'm never going to use again, and I turned it back off. But now I left it on because it's 100% better than it was when I first tried it, and I was super impressed with this. And then yeah, the second thing was the music, Wes. I mean, they hit it. They had some amazing music here, and I was super impressed that they were able to get some of these rights to some of this stuff.
yeah, I was the same way. My hand tracking was turned off, and I had to go into the settings and enable it to play this game. That was easily enough done. And let me go ahead right off the top here and thank Another Way, the developer, for providing us with review access. We did receive a review copy for this, and we very much appreciate it. Um, yeah, yeah. The hand tracking worked well, which uh, was surprising at a point. And what I mean by that was when I knew that Vertigo Games was involved with this, I knew it had to be decent, right? Because they have quickly moved into maybe the top spot at all of the VR studios when it comes to their work, both as a development studio and as a publisher. Vertigo Games is the cream of the crop. So when I knew that they had picked this game up and that they were releasing it, I assumed that the hand tracking was going to be better than I thought it was going to be, and that very much was the case. It tracks your fingers pretty well, and even more importantly than that, the game is kind of designed so that the fingers, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like it's easy enough the way that they do it. Like if it was like a super intricate thing that you had to do, and maybe it is at the later levels. I didn't play all the way through it. Um, maybe the finger tracking becomes a little bit more of an issue. But for what I played, Roots, that aspect of the game was actually pretty smooth. How was your experience?
Yeah, it was actually good. Like you said, the tracking was good. This video is not good. I don't know what the hell happened to it. It's like halfway, it just freezes. But I was impressed with a couple things. Right off the bat, this is one game that I was actually kind of glad I did the tutorial. Not because I wanted to figure out how everything happened. Because I
What'd you
mean that
think
was
about what'd you think about Satchel, your guide?
that's what I was gonna say. That the learning how to do the guitar obviously is important. I kind of figured it was gonna be important. But I really loved the intro. I loved the way that that the poster came to life, the way it looked. Everything looked so cool, and this dude really good acting. I really enjoyed the tutorial, which I hate tutorials. This guy made it enjoyable for me, and I was impressed with it. I was impressed with the way that like even some of the like when things pulled up in the menu and stuff, the way it looked. I mean, they really nailed the way this game looks in the headset. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
My only problem with the game at all, really the biggest problem is the problem I knew was going to be a problem for me. I need something in my hands. I need haptics at least. I need like there's so much going on. I don't know if I'm real how good I'm doing outside of seeing the perfect awesome or whatever going across. And then my second issue is I don't know if you guys had it, but this guy is amazingly keeping this thing fucking still. For me, my guitar was like twisting and you could still play it, but it was really sometimes it was really weird. And I figured I was doing it wrong, and clearly from this video I was doing it wrong. But that's my was my first impressions of it.
Yeah, yeah, that was the biggest issue for me as well. There's guitar drift pretty much constantly. It doesn't stay still. Now, I'm not sure that I wasn't shifting, my position in real life, but in the game, it felt like the guitar was constantly moving, and you pretty much have to be in a constant state of readjustment while you're trying to play these songs.
My
So
fingers are
yeah, that
stuck
was
like this too, Wes, on my left hand. That's a
right.
very awkward way, and I don't know. I don't play guitar, so I don't know if that's normal or what. But like, I just found it was awkward trying to do the finger things. It really tracked it very well, like you said, because it's 3, 2, 4. Good concept. But for me, it felt weird, and I guarantee you, maybe it's just me needing to play more of it. But this was weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the fingers, I felt were okay. Like, it missed a couple of times, like, when I would shift in real life, but and there was a delay on the finger tracking picking it up, but for the most part, I really didn't have much trouble with the hands. It was all about the guitar moving for me. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, it was the same thing with me. The problem I think with it is when you don't have anything physically in your hand and you're holding the neck of the guitar, it's just there's nothing there to give you any feedback, and you end up moving a little bit, and it shifts the whole guitar in the way it is, positioned towards your body. So you end up having to constantly move it to get it back into position. Now, I did find that later, the longer I played, the less I moved the neck, or actually, the more I moved the neck, and you could just set it up to where it wasn't going to move as much because as you get later in the game, you can do things and really move the neck around quite a bit, like you're actually like doing almost like a solo, and you're kind of moving it around. And what happens is the base of the guitar itself stays more stationary and doesn't float as much. So I don't know if that's me getting used to it or if the game itself, as it progresses, takes over with that.
Hmm.
But it does. I did feel that as I got into it more, it stayed more stationary. But when it in the beginning, like I said, the neck of the guitar is so loose. It's just like it's all over the place. And yeah, I had to reposition a ton of times. But so yeah, I don't know if anybody else experienced the same thing. But as you get farther down and you progress a little bit farther, I don't know if I just got better at it or if the game itself, as the difficulty starts to ramp up, because you do have to do more things as you get going on into the game. It's not just four fingers that you have to start changing your fingers. There's solos that you can do. There's a freestyle mode that you can do, and you can really kind of get moving around with that guitar. So yeah, I don't know if the game kind of takes control at that point of the like the neck or body of the guitar to help you out, but something changes, a little bit farther into the game to kind of take care of some of that.
Well, that's
Somebody,
good because I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just say, Wolveraza said that the tremolo, which I guess is the whammy bar, said you can use it to lock the guitar into place. So maybe that's just something we just didn't do, actually lock
Well,
it into
no,
place. And then,
well, but when you let go of it, it's supposed to lock into place. You use
Yeah.
that whammy bar to move it, and then when you let it go, it's supposed to lock. The problem is that after you start playing a song, it starts to move on you.
mm, yeah, I don't
And
know. Maybe we're doing something wrong, but I was going to say, I'm kind of interested in this actually. Skiva says you will be able to play it with haptics soon. So that'll be interesting. I don't know, maybe with some gloves, because a pair of gloves, haptic gloves, would solve the issue.
I,
I just need to feel like I'm holding something.
Mm.
It's a really cool concept. It's just missing a piece, and you know what I mean. It's just something that I believe you need to have some kind of haptics. So,
obviously, Steve is talking about B haptics vest support, which I'm sure would be cool with this type of music.
oh, I
Being
gotcha.
able to feel it would certainly enhance the experience. But my only real problem was with the guitar drift. Now, Roots, you're saying that you would like some kind of haptic feedback in your hands. Do you think it would benefit your experience if they were to patch in a sort of hybrid mode where you play with one controller? So your strumming hand, you're holding a controller and getting haptic feedback through it, and then your offhand is just floating free. I don't even know if the headset itself is capable of doing that, but it would seem like this would be something within the realm of possibility. What do you think? You think that would improve your experience?
I think this is a damn good idea, Wes. And if they can do it, I think they need to do it because it's a hybrid. Yeah, I mean, and you could still have the option if you really want to hold the pick. You know, what's the difference between me doing this or doing this with my controller? Give me something to be, you know what I mean? I think that's a really good idea.
I
Awesome.
talked to Wes earlier about, I was thinking about getting my old Guitar Hero guitar out that I have. I still have, and from actually not Guitar Hero, but Rock Band. I still have one of those guitar controllers from Rock Band.
Me too.
I was gonna grab it out. I was gonna see. The only issue I don't know if it'll have is if it'll screw with the hand tracking if you
Mm.
actually have something physically in your hand, because at least that would give you some frame of reference, especially for the neck of the guitar. Because again, the neck for me is the loosest part of the whole thing. When you let go of the whammy bar, the base of the guitar kind of stays, but it's the neck of the guitar that gets out of whack for you.
Mm.
So I think if I had something more in my hands, um, it would definitely, feel like, it would give you some tactile feedback when you're doing it. But again, I don't know if it'll screw around with the tracking though. I think somebody like Jason Ward should figure out some kind of guitar stock though, or something.
This could cause a problem, and I'm just thinking out loud. If your controller is drifting or if the guitar is moving around, but your thing isn't, that would be the thing. It would have to be 1-to-1, right? It would have to be because otherwise you're going to be doing this, and then your controllers, or I mean your guitar is coming back or moving around if it's moving. I mean, once you got it locked in, that would be really good. And I think I was thinking the same thing. Jason should work on a
Yeah.
periphery for it.
Absolutely. So now that we got the negative stuff out of the way, let's get back on to some of the things that I really liked about it because obviously I expected to be surprised by the hand tracking, and I was. We knew coming in that that the soundtrack was going to be awesome, which it was. But what I wasn't quite expecting was just how cool the vibe of this app is. When you get into this thing, the visuals and audio atmosphere are super cool, and beyond that, um, the UI. I really love the UI in this game. Not only how it looks, but you know how easy it is to use and intuitive it is. Roots, what did you think about the interface in this game?
It's amazing, and it's a testament to where we're at in VR. Can think about it from when we started this podcast, we wouldn't be raving about UIs, and 2 out of the 3 games that we have today, that was the biggest thing that one of the biggest things that really stuck out to me was just how well the UI was done, how intuitive they are like in this game, and like I said, even just the like pop-up screens and the way everything looked, it really impressed me. I was really impressed, and then that intro, man, I just couldn't believe how cool it was. And I guess that was the lead guitarist Wolveraza said from a band, another, I can't remember, I guess Steel Panther.
No Panther.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And so I didn't know that. I just when the poster came to life, and it was just it was one of the highlights into me, that just all the way it was done and the acting and everything else. So that lead singer should feel good about what he did. It was cool.
Yeah, that guy was funny, wasn't he? Talking about he just ate a pot brownie, and some of the shit he says is actually pretty comical. Eric, what did you think about the vibe in the UI?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I love Satchel was great, man. I mean, he's like, "Oh, I know what it's like to be a nerd like you," and he's like, "No, no, I really don't." He was just too funny, man. The stuff he was saying, and it was really cool. He's like, "What are you doing with that thing on your face?" He's talking about the VR headset, and he's like, "What are you wearing?"
He's
So it
trapped in
was
the
just cool,
poster.
man.
He was trapped.
Yeah, it was just so cool. I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, if you're gonna have to go through the tutorial, that's the way to do it, man. Entertain me when you put me through these things. Don't make me go to sleep when you do it. And this was definitely the way to do it. And you have to go through the tutorial for this because this game is not easy to pick up. So yeah, I mean, you have to do it. Make it so it's fun. And you're right, the user interface is fantastic here. I mean, they did it. They nailed it. It really it's just easy to pick up, it's easy to play, but hard to master, which is what these things should be. And it's just a lot of fun. And man, they just nailed it with the music. They were so smart. I hope that they really decide to get some more, music into this. But I was super impressed with the music that they put in it.
It's cool how they progress it, right? Because it's not like they don't throw everything uh, at you all at once in the tutorial. They give you the basics in the tutorial, and then as you progress through the songs, every song they'll introduce a new concept to you, and the game gets a little bit more complex. But what you're saying is right. The soundtrack's really awesome, and what I liked about it as well is as you progress through the game, the songs get even better as you go. Like it starts off with some of I mean, it's all good, but by the time you get to like the second and third record, and that it's all divided up. This is part of the UI. All of the tracks are uh, in kind of like five unlockable levels, and each one of them has three or four, maybe five tracks in it, and the music gets better as you go. So I really appreciated the progression of it, and again, the UI is just so cool.
Skiva's got a good point. I didn't even think about this on the PC VR version. The Valve Index controllers will have haptics, and you'll still not have you'll still be doing your fingers and stuff. So this could be a potential game where you actually have the benefit of, where the controller actually makes a difference, right? So
That's true, and this absolutely 100% is coming to Steam VR for a limited number of headsets, but Valve Index being chief among them.
what do you think about this? Couldn't they add haptics to the controllers? But like I've got a Kiwi strap. I could put this Kiwi strap on. I could have the same thing as the Index. I could still have my fingers free. I could get that the same thing. Maybe the developers could somehow do that to where you could still use your fingers, but then have the controller attached by a Kiwi strap or something. Get the best of both worlds
Well,
as well.
again, this is where Jason needs to come in with some kind of an attachment to your controller that you strap to your hand. The only thing is, you really got to have that knowledge of how the hand tracking works, and if
Mm,
anything in your hand is going to break it or not.
true.
Um, Hopefully, it's the case that really it needs. I mean, it's possible that it improves the finger tracking because now there's a solid background against your fingers and it can see what you're doing. But if the AI algorithm is working off the shape of your entire hand, if you're holding anything, it could break it.
Man. Well, then you just need to use the military's AI and then we'd be okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I got to figure the developers probably would have done something too if it was a fairly easy process. They may have done something to make a peripheral to do it. Um, Kind of like the original. There was a rock band for VR originally, right? And they had
Yeah.
a peripheral, right?
Yeah, but
Yep.
that says in this
No,
trailer here that they're pretty much were trying to go, for nothing. No gimmicky things in your hands. No plastic. No this. Um, but it could be just that's was limiting, and that's why they sold it that way. I don't know. So
so anyway, $25 for this as it stands. I think it's reasonable to assume that the tracking support will get better over time as since the feature was uh, introduced, and I think it's also reasonable to expect that there are going to be some pretty awesome DLC packs for this thing down the road. Uh, Taking all that into consideration, Roots, do you recommend this game at $25?
it's a little pricey for me. I mean, this is the thing. The music alone, I don't think you get. It has to be $25. I can't fault them for the
Right.
price. It's such a niche thing. It's going to be hard to get people in there for $25. It'd be a great Viveport Infinity title because then people could jump in there and check it out and play as much as they want, and developers get a lot of the extra money. I think if you're a guitar enthusiast, I don't think $25 is that much at all. I think people that love guitar would be like, "Fuck, dude, this is amazing." Just the fact that every single person in our chat is raving about all the songs and stuff, and I mean that even myself, I'm not that much into music, but as I was looking through and hearing the songs, they were all songs that I know and like. And that's what everybody's saying. So they did a really good job of getting good music for this for sure.
Yeah, even the songs that I didn't recognize, I ended up enjoying. So the soundtrack's legit for sure. Eric, what about you? $25?
Yeah, I'm definitely in for that price. I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, especially if you were a Guitar Hero fan or a Rock Band fan or any of the music fan. This is a fantastic thing to do. You're doing this in VR. You're physically doing it. It feels really cool. As you progress and you get better and better, you get that sense of progression that you're actually getting better at it. So it's and there's a lot of stuff to do, and they don't give it to you either. It's like you can't just you don't get all the songs. You actually have to open them up. So you have to get so many gold records to open up another song or set list. So I like that. I like where they give you some challenge to get to these things. It's extremely fun. It brings you back. It makes you want to play more. And as we said, the music is great. So, I mean, there's nothing, like I said, the small gripes that we have are small issues that they can work out. Or, like I said, some of my issues I actually fixed later down as I progressed into the game a little bit more. So, if they keep getting better and better, this game is 100% recommend for me. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's interesting here because my initial thoughts on it was like, well, maybe not for 25, but I always fall into this trap where I'm thinking that a $25 game is what a $25 game was 2 years ago, and it's not the case. $25 isn't as much for a VR game now as it was then. $25 is kind of the new $15, and 30 is kind of the new 20.
Mm.
So when I think of it that way, uh, and I think about how polished this game is from an interface standpoint, as well as the look and sound of it, I think 25 is a pretty decent price for it. It is a title I had fun with. It is a title I do expect that I will return to from time to time. I'd like to see them continue to expand the track list in it. I would, and I know it's becoming a bit cliche at this point. I'd like to see some kind of multiplayer get factored into this as well. Dueling guitars. Let's get you in here with a friend, head to head, and see who can win the crowd over. I think if you do that, I think it's a no brainer at 25. But even as it stands, 25 is, I would say, is the upper limit of what I'd pay for it. But I don't think it's an unfair price, and I do think it's a good game. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to have the lead developer on next week. Talk to him. We'll ask him those questions.
Oh, nice.
multiplayer, bro, put it on him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll hit
Yeah.
him. I'm going to hit him with that one for sure.
We'll have to get a
Absolutely.
list of questions for you to ask him because I have a couple questions I
Hell
want to
yeah.
ask him right now, and he's not here. Where the hell are you? Why are you not? Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Well, you're
not
not
this.
here. I know, right?
It's not Eric's show next week. Never mind.
Yeah, you're going to be surprised when you show up to talk to him, and it's Satchel in full
Oh,
costume.
Oh, dude. I
dude.
would totally geek out if it was Satchel.
Yeah, dude. I'm a Satchel fan for sure. And, this is the thing. This is the reality. If you got Ruuts to say that he's glad he did the tutorial, that beeping is loud. It's my
Your
coffee pot.
smoke alarm.
Yeah, oh
Oh,
God.
shit.
I'll tell you what, I went down to get my coffee pot cleaned earlier, and I turned on the light in the living room, and it was going on and off because I think the bulb's going out. And I got PTSD already, bro, and it's only been one day. It's crazy.
Anyway, a solid title here. I think in another way should be proud here because not only have they done a very rare thing in delivering a
Oops.
unique title, something that hasn't been done before, but it's a bit of a technical marvel. I mean, we've seen other titles that use the hand tracking before, but never in such an intricate manner. And for it to work as well as it does is a bit of a miracle. It's magic, wizardry, even. And for a small developer like that, I got to imagine that they must be very proud. So good work to what was it? What were they called? Another Way? It was
Hmm.
or something like
Another
that.
way. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Good work to them, and kudos to Vertigo as well for recognizing the potential here and getting involved in delivering such a polished product.
Let
It's
me
commendable.
let me ask you guys this: are you going to leave your hand tracking on now, or is it getting turned back off?
I don't know, man. Like, it was pretty cool being able to navigate the menus and stuff like that. It worked pretty well.
Yeah. See, if I watched more stuff in like YouTube or even big screen or anything like that, it really would be nice because they've gotten it down really good to where you're able to open windows and scroll and all that stuff. Um, I think for that,
Here's
it's
the
really good.
downside, though. Here's the downside. Um, we all know that Facebook is watching us anyway. Do you really want them to be able to see what you're doing with your hands at all times?
No, no. That's my thing. I don't want Zuckerberg specifically to know what I'm doing with my hands. So
He already
Yeah,
knows. He already
that's
knows
scary.
because your controller batteries, one of them runs out faster than the other one.
it's
Like,
like, man, that
why
is
are you always
universal.
It's always your
what?
right hand.
Yeah, why is your left controller always dead, Roots? What's
Yeah,
up?
if you're right-handed, that doesn't make sense. Oh.
I left
Oh.
mine on,
Anyway,
man. I like I said, I never used mine before at all. I left mine on, and it's pretty cool, man. I found a couple of times where I had set my controllers down, and all of a sudden, I got these, little
I'll tell
cursors or that I can move around with my fingers. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just turn it off this way or whatever I was doing,
I'll tell you
and
why I
every
turned it off to begin with when I first tried it. Besides the fact that it was not as perfect as it is now. Uh, I found at times when I would be using my controller that it would get confused and it would do weird things. It would like all of a sudden act like my hand didn't have a controller for a second or two. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing that. I don't need it to get confused in the middle of a game or whatever. So you guys, I guess, Smash, you can find out for me for down the road. I, for one, turn that shit off because I need it. If my controller's in my hand, I need it to always be in my hand and not somehow floating in a menu one time because my hand's not in a certain way. And I'm sure it's probably fixed by now, but who knows?
well, here's my thing with the hand tracking. Really, my only issue with it was I didn't see any way to recenter the play space, which is something I do a lot. I move around, and I don't keep my guarding battery on 99% of the time, so I need to be able to recenter when I move. And I had to pick up my controller to do that like a few times.
Mm,
So um,
you'd think
I'm
they'd
sure
make
that
it
there's a
easy. Just go like this,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden
right,
you're
right,
recentered. You could do
or
anything.
jazz hands, jazz
Jazz
hands.
yeah, there
hands.
you go. That's
You could do the old shaker. There's all sorts of hand gestures you could do that would just
Or you
suddenly
could do
center you.
like the shocker,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know who else loves a shocker?
My
Oh yeah,
mom.
she does.
shocker VR.
Maddie Matt says he
Anyway,
turns it off because it always pauses videos unintendedly. That's my thing. Is like I don't think the AI is 100% perfect in that respect. And like something like this game, obviously it is designed to use your hands, so it's not going to have that issue. But when you have both options, and maybe we're just talking ourselves out of being able to use a controller at the same time, the AI just seems to get confused every once in a while. So.
you just gotta quit pinching so much, man.
That's
Pinch the
true.
shit.
That's true. I'm always walking around going like this all the time.
Yeah,
So.
right.
Well, I mean, people like passing it, and
Oh, that's
you know
right. That's right.
the headset gets confused and starts fucking clicking on shit all across the room. Anyway, when we move on,
We have
is it
a time to.
is it time for Oprah?
Yeah.
Oh
Ah, there
yeah.
she
Oprah
is.
time. All
Oh
right, so we
man.
got a couple of keys to give away this week for people who watched last week and entered in the comments. We're giving away a couple games. Firstly, Hell Road VR, coming to us courtesy from our friends at Travel Lab Replay. Thank you to those guys. Super cool for not only providing us with access to their game, but for providing us a couple keys. One of which we gave away last week. belated congratulations to Technoglitch for winning last week, and even more belated congratulations to Wolveraza, who I think ended up with it. So congratulations, guys, and good luck to those of you who entered. Let's draw, and as is the case, usually when we do one of these drawings, everyone has been assigned a number in the comments. We're going to take to random.org, random number generator, to choose the winner. Once the winner has been announced, it is upon you to contact me. You can do that on Discord. You can do that on Twitter. You can do that by email. All of that stuff is either in our description down below or in the about section of our YouTube channel. So you guys just contact me after the show, and we'll get your key out to you. Anyway, we're going to do Hell Road first, and then we're going to come back a little bit later in the day, and give away Eye of the Temple as well, courtesy of our friend Eric here, who decided that game was too good for for anyone not to have it.
I just picked it up today,
he's going
Wes. I just bought it for myself because the thought of trying to go into it and having you or Eric in there and stopping me says no. And I'm gonna take Eric's lead, and I'm gonna throw a second copy myself. So we're gonna give away 2 copies of Eye of the Temple
Oh,
tonight.
yeah.
boom. How about
Bam.
that, guys? Well, I am not going to buy anybody a copy, but you guys can have at it. I got too much shit to pay for, yo.
Well, you got, it's just me, dude. This is the celebratory, my house didn't burn down copy of Eye of the Temple.
Ruuts is celebrating. All right. Anyway, random.org says the winner is number one. So
Wow.
Hell Road entry at number 1 was, if I can find it,
Ooh, my internet.
Rattlehead. What's up, Rattlehead? Rattlehead is the winner. Congratulations, Rattlehead. Hit me up in Discord or Twitter or email, and we will get you your key to Hell Road VR. It's an awesome game. Congratulations. Timely Halloween game, too.
Rattlehead. I like
Ruuts,
that.
I'm gonna need a bite down on my glasses case for when I have my seizure.
People have said the seizure time. Hopefully no one has a seizure, but
I don't want to bite my tongue off if I'm gonna bite down.
that'd be crazy if one of us had it on air. That would not be good.
Oprah's,
I just try not to look. I
Oprah's
guess.
got the spirit running through her, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Oh
she
my
does.
God,
Not that spirit either. The other one.
She looks like she's getting a shocker.
Yeah, she is getting the shocker, dude.
Yeah, man, I can hear the buzz in here. Zzz, sounds like a lightsaber. Anyway, congratulations, Rattlehead. Hit me up, buddy, whenever you see this, and we'll get your key.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, congrats.
All right. So before we get to the topic du jour, let's talk about a game that we've talked about many, many times before. One of the very best in VR, the best platformer outside of PlayStation VR, Ven VR Adventure. This is a game and a developer that we have commended many times for their attention to detail in putting together a platformer that, quite honestly, puts Lucky's Tales to shame. And it's fun to play, super replayable and original in how it attacks the VR implementation at points in this game. Uh, really, this is a game that people only ever had one complaint about, and I don't think any of us were even included in that. We didn't have any complaints about it, but some people did have issue with the fixed camera. So when Ven VR Adventure originally was released, just like Astrobot Rescue Mission, you as the player are in a fixed position. The camera doesn't move. At that point, there wasn't even any turning feature, which they later went on to add snap turning, which was very helpful. Um, But you know, a lot of the challenge in this game is perspective based. It's being able to maneuver and make precise maneuvers from distance, from a limited viewing perspective. So when we heard that the developers at Monologic were going to give in to pressure from the naysayers and put in an alternate camera mode, we all kind of groaned and shook our heads at it. But we all said the same thing. As long as it's an option, then I'm fine with it. And Roots, I'm happy to report that that indeed is the case here. This camera mode called free mode, it actually is an optional thing.
I don't like it. I'm glad it's optional because for one, it says it's free mode, right? And it literally says in the description you can move it. You can move your camera anywhere. Bullshit. You can move it up about a little bit, and you can move it down a little bit. That's it, dude. There really, and that the
Oh
turning.
well, that's yeah. Well, the turning is different when you have it in free mode.
I
You
didn't.
kind of rotate around Vin.
It didn't.
Vin's kind of this.
It's weird, dude. I don't. I mean, maybe somebody likes it. I think that, it was so. It's so good. I was gonna say was so good. It is so good. Don't break it. Which they didn't. That's exactly it. Maybe somebody will prefer this, but a couple things I took away from this, Wes. I did not. It's been so long since I've been in there. I was blown away by so many things again, and I had never seen the castle, dude. I went into the castle for the first time today, and I was like, oh my god, dude. This game is so beautiful, so cool. The mechanics, the fact that Ven is now talking and saying little quip things, and talking shit sometimes, was super cool. But I did go into the PC VR thing. I re-downloaded it because I didn't have it, just to see what the differences are, and I guess this is not making it to PC VR yet. Do you know if this
Oh,
is going to be on? Is that because it was only 5 gigs? It's actually bigger on the Quest, 8 gigs, and I re-downloaded it from scratch, and he did not talk. It did have the camera movement, but it didn't have the talking in it. So I thought that was kind of weird.
that that is interesting to me. I didn't even think to ask. I just kind of assumed that these improvements would hit all platforms. And I got to, again, I have no idea, but I assume that if they haven't already, then that it probably won't be long before they bring this to PC as well.
It's
Um,
not mentioned in any of their notes.
hmm.
All their patch notes. It's not mentioned at all. So I assumed it was there as well.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well,
If I
I'm
hadn't
sure that
re-downloaded it, I would think maybe I just was playing an old thing. But I mean, I downloaded it from and saw from, didn't have it on my PC again. So I don't know.
Well, I'll ask them next time I talk to them, but knowing these guys, I'm sure you can click on this video tomorrow morning and scroll down to the comments, and I'm sure they will have commented on PC support before I can even get a chance to ask them about it. So, shout out to Monologic, and interested to know what your PC plans are for the updates. But what Roots is saying here is true. There's so much more going on here with this update, other than just the new camera mode. Now there's smooth turning. At first there was no turning, then there was snap turning. Now there's smooth turning and full control of the turn speed, which I always appreciate because typically smooth turning, when it's implemented, half the time it's too slow, and I have to use snap anyway. But you have full control of it here over the speed, and yeah, Vin talks now, which adds a new layer of depth to the personality of the lead character. And then when you're talking about a game like this, I mean, that's kind of a big deal, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, he needs personality, right? That's what this was lacking. And man, why doesn't Oculus snap this up and just make this the freaking mascot, man? Make Ben the mascot for Oculus, and get him talking a little bit. You give him some character. I mean, this is a perfect thing for this. Sony's got Astrobot, and I guarantee they're gonna try and push and make Astrobot their little mascot character. This would be perfect for that. So yeah, it's a missed opportunity if Oculus doesn't do this. But yeah, it's cool to see him talk. He did give you a little fist bump earlier in an earlier version, but now he can say stuff, and he can get a little wise with you too, which is cool, and he's funny. And And yeah, I mean, you want to see this like progression with the way that with things they can do with the character to make it more interesting. Because the gameplay is already there. They didn't need to do too much more.
Mm-mm.
Right. Well, when you think about a game like Astrobot and what makes it so great, they do a little bit more with the level diversity than what they do in this game. But really, the biggest difference that sets Astrobot, leagues ahead of any other of these platforming games is the characters have so much personality. Like when you play that game, and for example, you'll have Astrobot running down this little platform stretch, running by your head. As he runs by your head, he waves at you like, "Hi, how's it going?" Little stuff like that. You find all the little guys in these little situations, always doing this little cutesy stuff that always makes you smile. And that was really kind of the hallmark for Astrobot is it was a game that constantly made you smile, not just because of the gameplay, but because of the characters. And I think adding dialogue here for Vin is a step in the right direction toward closing that gap.
Let me ask you
Eric,
this. Oh, sorry, just real quick. I didn't know if they added dialogue into the game as well, but I could, I started the game from scratch, and it seemed like they were going into more detail in the story. They were talking about Bruce Nelson, and he was going to this planet because people lived for hundreds of years, and like they had this life extension, and maybe that's why Bruce Nelson went there. And I don't and maybe I'm just not remembering the story, but it seemed to me like there was more to it than I remember, and that could just be me misremembering what was there before. Do you guys remember that in the story, or is that something that is been added in the last several months since I played it?
that's they have continually updated the backstory here through previous updates as well, not just this one. So it is something that has evolved over time. But you're right, it's a lot more fleshed out now than it was at launch.
It's just really good. It was amazing when it launched, and I was impressed all over again in several different areas. And anyway, I'll let you get back to your question, Derek.
No, I was just going to ask Eric, about the camera control, the free mode camera control, because my assumption going into this and trying this out was that the free movement control system was going to make the gameplay too easy. And when I actually tried it, I found out in many cases that just the opposite. Like in a lot of cases, it really limits your field of view to the point that it makes it more difficult to play. And what I found with this free mode was I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. And I wouldn't say that it's my preferred way to play, but really, it all depends on what level you're in and what part of each level, because there are parts of levels that I want to be down on ground level with Vin checking out the scenery and the enemies. There are other parts where I want to be backed out and see the entire field so that I can time my jumps perfectly and be precise with my movements. I found myself constantly switching back and forth, maybe not between modes, but if you raise your camera all the way up in the free mode, it's pretty close to the original mode. So I found myself sticking to the free mode more than I thought I would, and there were absolutely parts of the game that I preferred playing in that, which was a total surprise to me because I didn't think I was going to like it at all, and I thought it was going to completely nerf the game. And I'm happy to report that that's not the case at all. It didn't make it the least bit easier in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing. I mean, I thought, it's definitely not easy any easier with this camera, and I don't know exactly why. I mean, I know why they wanted to do it. They wanted to make it more approachable for everybody. I just don't know if it's necessary.
Oh,
They wanted to make it they wanted to make it to where people it was more approachable for people, and people had issues with the camera getting so far away from Ven that they had a tough time figuring out, depth and things like that with some of these precise jumps that you needed to do. And originally when they did it, there was issues with it because when you do a camera like that, you can get people sick pretty easily. And I will say that they have fixed a lot of those issues. I don't know if they were frame rate issues when they were doing it or not, but I was testing this early on, and it was rough in the beginning. So it's definitely better now, the way it follows. But yeah, I mean, I just don't know if it's necessary, Wes. I mean, I understand what you're saying that it does get you closer in certain spots, but I just didn't. For me, it wasn't broken before. I just don't know why they put so much time and effort. I would have preferred they put more time and effort into doing other things, and
I
yeah, I
agree.
just don't.
Give us new levels, right?
Yeah,
Give us some more
exactly. I
levels.
mean, how much had to go into doing all the? I'm telling you, I tested this camera thing 3 months ago. They've been working on this camera thing for a long time. So how much time and effort did they have to put into this where they could have been doing something else? Um, to where like I said, I didn't think it was really broken before, but I don't know if we're in the minority or not, guys. I mean, this is to me, this is a game that needs to be played by more people. It's not talked about enough. It's just not. I don't know why.
I think
Um,
that's I think that lies at the heart of the issue here because we know and they know that the quality level of this game is as good as anything. Like that this game should have been an instant hit. Everyone should have bought this. It's a must-own title, but I don't think it necessarily worked out that way. And really the only complaint, if you read the reviews, the only real complaint people had was that the camera was too far away. And, I've always contended that those people who are saying that, if it weren't that way, they would have found something else to complain about, right?
Right.
These are people making excuses for getting a refund or not buying it. Um, uh, and I've told them as much. Like, you can't make everyone happy, and they agreed for a while. But I guess probably sales weren't going the way that they had hoped that they would, so they wanted to put an effort into making everyone happy. Um, so I hope it has that effect. I really don't expect that it will. I think it was a must own before. I think it's a must own now. And as far as this camera mode goes, it's not my preferred mode. I think that the original mode is perfect for it. I think that again, a lot of uh, it was built with that camera mode in mind. This extra camera mode, it feels like something that was kind of added in later because it doesn't always work. It only works in certain areas. But with that said, the way I treat it is kind of like the same way I treat the tabletop mode in Hellblade. These are beautiful levels, and sometimes I like to catch them from a different perspective, and that's when I switch into the free mode. I'm glad it's an option, but I agree with you. It's certainly not necessary, and I don't think it's really going to sell any more copies for them. Again, though, I hope I'm wrong about that.
Somebody said in the chat, Skiva actually said in the chat earlier that he preferred Lucky's Tale and that he was excited to check this out because he did not like the camera. He's looking for a different camera. So I guess for people like that, there has to be people out there that will really dig this. I mean, obviously Skiva already bought it. This isn't going to make Skiva run out and buy the game. Assuming he owns it. So I agree. I don't think it's going to make too much sales different. Make too much of a difference in sales. But I mean, it's done, and they didn't ruin the game. That was my biggest thing. Is like I went into that ice level today, and I realized why I hadn't seen the castle level before. Because that shit's hard, dude, and that's why I
You got to
love
play
this
Beat
game.
Saber. You got to play Beat Saber just to get in.
That's what's
yeah.
crazy, dude. Like exactly. And I was like, it just was cool, man. I was not expecting it. It was super cool. It was one of the most beautiful areas I've seen in the game. And I was questioning what happened. How the fuck did I get pulled away on the third level and I just walked away from it and forgot about this game? I think the day where this game is being championed is coming with so many people coming into VR. This is the only platformer of its kind on Quest 2, and so it has to succeed. Like it's so good. It just needs to get a buzz, right? And
Do,
Yeah,
do,
yeah.
do you think it's the mentality of people nowadays? I mean, when I was a kid, platformers were the way to go, but platformers were frustrating. They were meant to be frustrating. They were meant for you to play a level 20, 30 times before you got that timing down exactly perfect that we needed, and you felt so great when you did it. But it's almost like the people nowadays want instant gratification. They want to get through it, they want to beat it, and they don't want to have any frustration, because if you can't beat it right away, they don't want to play it anymore. So
Right.
Right.
it's almost to me like it's not a flaw in the game; it's a flaw in the game play. And I shouldn't say a flaw. It's just a different mentality nowadays. I mean, I can remember playing Mario over and over and over again on certain levels just to get through it. Crash Bandicoot, Banjo Kazooie. These were games you had to continually play these levels, many many times to get the things right. You had to remember where things were. You had to get that memory down of this is where I need to jump at this exact time. And it's like people don't want to go through that anymore. I don't understand. I mean, there's so much joy in that for me. I don't understand it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like today people act like if a game is challenging that the game's broken, that there's something wrong with it. But games are supposed to be challenging. One of the reasons why we didn't name Half-Life Alyx the game of the year last year is because it wasn't challenging enough. It was something kind of tailored to today's audience, where it was amazing in so many different ways, but it was not hard. Like I played it on hard from the very first minute, and had no difficulty whatsoever playing through it. So yeah, and especially when you're talking about this genre, this platforming genre, this is supposed to be something that takes practice, right? You shouldn't. I mean, if you're coordinated enough to beat a platformer the first time that you run through it, or even like the fifth time that you run through it, then it's not challenging enough. It's this type of game demands timing. Timing takes practice, and yeah, I feel like a lot of these complaints were rooted in that kind of people not used to dealing with this type of frustration. But like Root said, Skiva had these complaints. I remember Main Fan complained about the same thing. He didn't like the camera. So I'm not saying that they're all illegitimate. I don't know how much more people they're going to reach because of these changes. But again, I hope I'm wrong. It's one of the best platformers I've ever played. Really, only Astrobot trumps it. Um, and I agree with what Eric said earlier. I think that this would be a great pickup for Facebook, the studio. I think that they could really, if they promoted this franchise, or even a new franchise with these guys, you know, creating it and making the games for it, I think would be a great idea. And I hope that what Root said is correct. I hope that this game, it's just a matter of time before it reaches everyone.
Yeah.
This game is a pack-in title for a Christmas holiday season. For
Yeah.
the
That's what I was thinking. Like this should be pre-installed on every Quest,
Yeah.
right? Because anybody can pick this up and play it. It's a beautiful game, fun to play, and like my dad could play this. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mm.
Well, he wouldn't be good at it, but he could pick it up and know how to play it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Your
I
wife
think
beat
part of the
she went
problem.
through the whole thing and beat it, right?
Say that again.
I was just saying Wes's wife went through and beat this whole thing. I mean,
Yeah, dude, that tells you a lot too. I think part of the
right.
problem, what we were talking about, is people in society being impatient, and part of it's what I've said about VR sometimes in general, how it can accentuate frustration, whether it be in puzzles or whatever. Like, for whatever reason, being in that headset, and it for me, puzzle games are way more frustrating if I'm staring at a puzzle I can't get through, and I'm in the headset versus just looking at my TV. And I would have to imagine that similar frustration could happen, in a platformer where you dying over and over again. It didn't happen to me because I'm really good at platformers, and even though, like Wes said, I'm gonna die a lot. That's part of the enjoyment for me. I love these type of games. So I don't know.
Delayed gratification is always so much more powerful than instant gratification. Like, you know, it gives you a sense of accomplishment when you fail before you succeed,
Yep.
and that's what really makes a great platformer is that sense of accomplishment. And there's some tough spots, even in that castle level you were talking about, Roots. That last sequence in it where you have to jump around those walls and shit, that is hard, man. And when I finally got it, it was such a great feeling. And to your question a moment ago about how did you miss this the first time through, um, they reordered the levels. That ice castle was a much later
Mm.
level in the first version of the game. They've, for whatever reason, they moved it up to the beginning of the second world. It was much later in the original release.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, it was cool,
Yeah,
and I just thought it was beautiful. Maybe that's why they moved it up. But
maybe,
yeah, it's
maybe.
cool. Definitely, nothing's changed for me when it comes to this game. It's a must buy if you have a Quest 2, especially if you like any platformers at all. But even if you're not a platforming person, I think it's worth picking up. It's definitely really good.
I
Hell yeah.
still contend that if you're watching this monologic, I still want New Game Plus. And what I mean by New Game Plus is when somebody beats the game on hard, I want it to unlock the original version of the levels with all the
Mm.
bits that you cut out, all the stuff that you thought was too hard for people. I want the Japanese version of the game, right? I want Vin Kaizo, and I want those parts back that had me pulling my hair out when I first picked this game up many months
Virtual stranger
ago.
mode.
That's a really good, yeah. Call the virtual stranger the stranger mode. That's a good idea because when I restarted my game, my first instinct, because I love hard platformers, is went to hard, and like I've done several times, I read the description and I said that's not hard mode, that's frustration mode. Now you're just making everything that much less notes, more it takes this. You have less lives. I want actual harder platforming, right? Like make the
Right.
game, like you said, just add all that shit that people were like, this is too difficult. It's not too hard for us. We got this. It's called Stranger Mode for a reason, bro.
I feel kind of responsible too, Roots, like because I was sharing my gameplay with them back in those early days, and I voice my frustration when I get frustrated, right? So I mean, there was one part of one of these levels that I had to try like 30, 40 times to get it because you know me, I'm not going on until I get every box, I get every rune, and that thing it was an impossible uh like sequence of jumping on moving trampolines that were moving in, you know, different ways. You had to hit three of them that were moving at a pretty quick speed, and it was hard, man, to get over there. And I cursed a lot while I was trying, but then I finally made it, and it was the best feeling ever. But then came that update, and now that part's gone, and
Man.
I'm like, makes me wonder. Did my curse words have anything to do with that being cut out? Because
You ruined it, Wes. You ruined it
obviously
for us.
I'd say
I ruined it for everyone.
it's a good possibility. I mean, it's not like they didn't, they clearly took our advice to heart in a lot of ways, at least from what I can see. Not that we're the end all of everything, but I think everything that we said is perfect and on point. So mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's hope that they take this bit of advice from us. They put in New Game Plus, Virtual Strangers mode, if you want to call it that, and allow the original uncut levels to be unlocked. Either that, or just develop a all new set of challenge levels for people that beat the game, or even make it paid DLC. I'll buy it. I'll pay for it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm looking to buy more of this game if they add more. So
Absolutely. Anyway, I think we've exhausted this this topic. We've covered it many times because it's one of our favorites, and we will continue to do so in the future as this game continues to evolve. But as of right now, I think Oprah wants to come back out.
oh
Roots
yeah, she does.
two
Oh,
times,
there she
right?
is.
Two times, two
Yeah,
copies of Eye of the Temple uh, up for grabs here, and
there is one
it's an amazing
caveat.
game.
One caveat. I'm assuming this is a caveat. Yeah, whoever wins is going to have to be at least for a day be a friend with me or Mash on Steam, right? So we can gift you the game. So
That's true.
There you go. Yeah, so these copies provided by my esteemed co-host here. So you can contact them if you win, or you contact me, and I'll get you in touch with them. But amazing game, right, guys?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I it was one of the things last night I was bummed the most about West because I had a little bit of planned sesh. I was going to go into a little bit of Eye of the Temple, and then my power went out. And as amazing as it was to have standalone games, I didn't have Eye of the Temple. I couldn't play it, and I was really bummed out. So
Understandable, dude. Like the whole guys, the whole reason why we're doing giveaways out of our own pockets here, out of their own pockets, is because this game is so amazing that we all feel like more people need to play it. People need to understand how good this game is. Um, it's original. It's the best use of room scale I've ever seen, and it's magic how they keep you from walking into your wall, even when you have a fairly confined play space. This thing just works, and I think everyone should give it a shot. I think those of you who entered that don't win should go buy it. And
Oh
with
yeah.
that said, let's find out who won.
absolutely. And Wolveraza says, "Ooh, you guys have cooties." Well, they're good cooties, Wolveraza. I can
They're the
guarantee
good kind.
they're the good kind.
All right, so the random.org number generator gives us our first winner. Number 7, winner number 7. So
Lucky number
let's
7.
see who number
Yeah, hell yeah.
7 was. Number 7 is Warmark.
Ooh, Walmart.
Congratulations, Warmark, for gaining an awesome title for your library. Eye of the Temple is yours. Hit up any one of us on Discord. Uh, yeah, I guess with those guys, that's pretty much how you're going to get a hold of them on Discord. The invitation is in the description down below, and they will hook you up
I
with
guess I
your
guess
copy.
contact Mash just so we have less
Yeah.
confusion than we have
Yeah.
you.
Yep. I'll take Warmark. You can hit me up on Discord, man, and send me a message, and I will get you a key right away.
Mepper says he was thinking
So
Eye of the Temple was a quest game with all the turning, and we talked about that on the show. It's amazing that it's not a quest game because we absolutely say you need to have wireless. So if you're playing it on Index, sorry, bro, you're not gonna have as good of an experience as I do with my Quest 2. Just
yeah,
saying.
I think that room scale is something that Quest should lean into more. Like you would think that having the first viable wireless standalone VR system would would you know promote this type of gameplay, but it really hasn't, which is kind of surprising.
That is crazy. I'm gonna predict that
And
whoever you pick out of that hat for me is gonna be on my friends list already because that
oh,
makes it easier
that'd be
for
good.
me.
All right,
But
so
that's another
Warmark,
reason to support these games, though, because this guy, he's not going to be able to bring this to the Quest on his own.
Mm.
You gotta buy this game. You gotta
So
buy this. Everybody
exactly.
buy this game, and he'll work on it. And I'm sure he would. He'd probably love to bring it to the Quest.
it's unique. It's
I'll
something that
guarantee
you're
you
not
would.
going to get from any other game. I've never experienced this amount of immersion where I just feel like I'm in the game and I'm walking around doing stuff and all I'm doing is walking 2 or 3 feet backwards and forwards, and it's amazing what they do with this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is ingenious. Some of the systems that they've come up with here. Really, it's the most simple concept in the world, but it's genius that they thought of it, right? Because I would have never thought to try that, and it's so simple that it's like it's the most obvious thing is the last thing you think about, right? And uh, good on this guy for Mr. Johansson for coming up with it and recognizing it and taking the 5 years to polish it up and make it work perfectly.
He paved the way for 5 years of his time to make an amazing game. That's why another reason why I want to showcase it because it's not getting the love that it should. And he opened the door for a lot of other developers that maybe didn't think this was possible, or it's just so good that I guarantee it's going to bring other games. If not from this person, right? I want a second game already, and I'm not even probably halfway through this thing. I want the minecart. Damn it.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Hell yeah.
I remember we've covered various attempts at this kind of room scale before on the channel, and it never works. Like it
Mm.
never works. We try to get in there and play other games that do something similar to this. It's always broken. It never works, and we end up moving on to the next game. So
Unseen Diplomacy tried to do it. It was okay, but it was not this. This game. This actually
No.
has cool gameplay and exploration. So
All right, random.org telling us who Root's new best friend is going to be. Number 6, right next to Warmark. So let's see who number 6 was. Number 6 was DLG27. Congratulations,
Ooh.
DLG27.
I don't know if he's
For
my
Is he on
friend
your
or
friends
not.
list?
I don't know if he is or not. I know I've seen his name before. Congrats, bro. If I'm not on your friends list, hit me up and we'll hook up. We'll become
is he in the
besties.
chat? If
And
he's
we'll,
not in the chat, I mean, he shows up a lot.
that's
So
true.
I see some gaming sessions coming between me and Roots and Warmark and DLG
Yeah.
27.
Hell
we
yeah.
can play Survive.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh hell yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Back for Blood is the best flat version of Survive I've ever played. So good. I've been thinking
I'm
about
missing
that mash. I almost
Blood.
was going to play it
Oh
tonight,
dude,
and I
don't play without
that's what I thought. I said I'm not playing without mash, bro.
me.
I just don't feel right.
I'm stuck without my computer for a week.
What's up, Corporate Zombie? Corporate Zombie joining us as his Mind Jive. What's up, guys? Corporate Zombie, for those of you wondering what happened to Corporate Zombie's timestamps, I've made a pretty colossal fuck up on the settings, apparently, some time ago, a few weeks back. And the way I do it, when I set up the show pages, it lets you copy over your settings. So if you fuck it up once, you fuck it up show after show after show. But I had all comments going into the held for review folder.
Oh.
So all these videos that didn't have any comments on them, they were just going and being held by YouTube, and I ended up finding this out after finding Corporate Zombies timestamps in there time after time after time. I finally went through the settings and recognized that I did that. So well, it's all good now. And my apologies to Corporate Zombie for your work going into the bin.
How retarded is that you can click something such a big deal by, you know what I mean, and they make it that easy to do? Because I guarantee it's got to be something that really was an easy thing to click on. Should
I
give you
don't know how I
warnings
did it. It's a
flashing.
setting that I never change. It's a setting that I've never have changed. So I must have just been an errant click that I didn't recognize. And yeah, everyone went to hell. So
That's crazy. Yeah.
Space Dennison join us. What's up, Void Cat? Thanks for stopping by. Anyway, I think everyone's here now, Roots. I think it's time for us to get to the star of the show, the main event, the showstopper. Resident Evil 4 VR released last week. After many, many months of build up and anticipation, this classic flat game has finally made its way into VR. And guess what, guys? It is not on PlayStation. This is a Facebook exclusive. And, you know, when this game got announced, Root, so many people, uh, jumped for joy because finally they're getting their Resident Evil game. Everyone's wanted Resident Evil 7 to come to PC forever, and it never has. Now, Oculus players get their Resident Evil game. But here's the catch, Roots, and this is the funny thing about this. It's like Resident Evil 4 is known. It's a classic title, and it's known because it took the Resident Evil franchise in another direction from what it previously was. The game became more action oriented and a little less of a traditional horror game with Resident Evil 4. The thing that Resident Evil 7 is known for is returning to the franchise's roots. So really, this game that everyone's been pining after, Resident Evil 7, really its whole claim to fame is correcting what Resident Evil 4 did to the franchise. So I think it's kind of interesting that people are drawing these comparisons because, to be quite honest, even though these are both very good games, they're very, very far apart in terms of everything, of gameplay, of scope, of tone. Um, what do you think about this game as it pertains to those comparisons to Jack and the Baker family?
I'm enjoying this game a lot more. I guess maybe they are completely different types of games. One's more like a psychological. I mean, really different horror type, and then this one is just action packed, right? Um,
Right.
I I just think back to when the first video footage was shown, and people were like, "Dude, this thing looks like garbage. Like this is bullshit. This is Quest 2." And I was like, "This is like alpha footage from a year ago." Like, you know what I mean? This is so far from garbage. It is looks so good, even on the Quest. Quest 2. I mean, the only things that I think don't look good is the same thing we knock every time: the foliage, the trees, the stuff that really doesn't matter. When you're getting to the beef of all the real assets that matter, it looks phenomenal. Super clear. Really good.
Eric, immediately the first thing that pops out to you as soon as you put this headset on, at least this was the case for me, is that clarity. Like this game is, even though it has, this older art style and a lot of older textures that were very minimally touched up by the team at Armature Studio. Um, the clarity that just comes from the Oculus Quest 2 headset is on full display in this one, and it's immediately noticeable, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this game is gorgeous. It really is. It looks so good, and the clarity. When you say clarity, that's it. I mean, to me, it looks so good. There's no. A lot of these games will use fogging or they'll use like haziness to make thing to cover things up, and they don't need to do that here. Things are super clear. It looks really, really good. The colors are great. The
Well,
textures are
well,
good.
well, the color, it's kind of
I thought the
brown.
Yeah, but that's the way the original game was too, Wes. The original game was brown. It was set in the woods. It was set in like a fall foliage type thing. So it's not like they're trying to make it that's something that's not. It's but even the interior levels are good looking. I mean, it's exactly the way Resident Evil 4 was way back when. So I don't think they didn't make the colors good because they couldn't. They just did they made the game the way the game was originally made.
Right.
You said you
So I
played it
thought
several times original, right, Eric? This was like one of
I
your
did.
babies. You
Yeah.
probably, this is something that you said there was a nostalgia feeling big time, right?
Yeah, as soon as you hit this game, I mean, if you played this game in the past, I mean, this is the game. I mean, this is I played this on different consoles, beat it on different consoles, originally on the GameCube and then on the PlayStation. Yeah, and again, it held true to the game. It's the core game itself, but it brought it into VR, which is what we all love. It brought us inside of it instead of playing it on a flat screen. So yeah, I mean, I just thought this game looked great. I was super impressed with it. I never was really worried. I wasn't really worried of how the visual was going to be because I knew, that footage you were talking about, Ruth. They said right away that that was alpha footage. They said it up front. So I wasn't really concerned about the visuals. To me, it was going to be the gameplay I had questions with, and but yeah, the visuals I think are stunning. Super happy with it, and I think the only people complaining about it are the ones that can't play it.
Right, right. And what you said is true. Not only are the interior scenes uh okay, to me, I think the interior stuff was the highlight of it. Like the only real deficiency outside of the limited color palette, again, and I understand. I'm not faulting them for that. I understand why they did it. They wanted to present an accurate representation of this classic title. If they had done anything else, people would have ripped them a new thing for it. Um, but for me, all of the visual downside is outside, and it's the stuff Roots talks about. It's stuff that's not all that uncommon for Oculus Quest titles: wallpapered textures, flat foliage, stuff like that. But once you get inside, I mean, this don't even look like an old game anymore. It looks like a pretty modern standalone VR game, right? It's one of the better looking games on Quest. Um, Roots, as good as the visuals are in this game, audio just as good, and it's important that the directional audio in this game is as good as it is because obviously this couldn't have been the case on the original, but in this VR version, you're taking a lot of the cues from audio in this game. There are enemies, especially in some of like the bigger enemies, where there's a lot of movement going on. uh, your first thing that you're looking for to place the enemy is that audio cue, and done flawlessly here, isn't it?
Yeah. Nah, it's almost nothing I can say that wasn't done flawlessly with because everything, even the stuff that the gripes I have about this game was them keeping it original to the true form, which is the biggest thing about a remaster. Even if you bring it into VR, it needs to have, especially with VR, it needs to have that nostalgia. But the sound is amazing. I mean, I Capcom, this is what I was telling you guys before the show, you know, that everybody's excited about this Resident Evil 2 VR mod, and I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be really good, but you can tell by what Capcom did with this, just like they did with Resident Evil 7, even more so, they took a lot of time to make sure they brought this game over. So it could do everything that we wanted it to do, to draw in all these people that are going to come play VR for the first time. I watched this guy's video today on YouTube. I don't know what, I just random guy as I was looking for videos. He's got 1.5 million subscribers, and he's did the whole 9-hour playthrough of this game. And we're seeing that more and more. And so that's, you know, all the 1.5 million people now potentially that could watch this game that they probably are aware of already and say, oh my God, this is out. And I mean, how many headsets are going to get sold from Resident Evil 4? I think this is going to push VR in a big way, a lot bigger than we think. But we won't know for, you know, for a while. So
Well, I can already tell that this is selling headsets. I've heard firsthand of people buying, uh, picking up their Quest 2 just to play this game multiple times. And I got to imagine, Eric, with you being the lead moderator of your Facebook group, that you're probably hearing it multiple times a day, right?
Yeah, I mean, me and you were talking the other day. I mean, for us, we normally pick up between like 12 and 1,500 new members in a week. The week that Resident Evil launched, we picked up 2,600 new members. And those numbers are crazy. I mean, just unheard of. And the only correlation I can put with that is Resident Evil launched because nothing else changed really. So I mean, it could have been maybe a little bit, people talking about a new headset, but most likely it was probably this. People were buying and joining groups because they're new to VR and they need to have somebody to talk to. So this is a system seller. This is one of these things that people will buy this or go buy VR because of these things, and we need more of these games. I mean, that's why I was so hopeful for this game and I wanted it to do so well. Is the more that this game does good, the more that other developers will look to bring these games in, and put them in VR. All these games that we want to play and people want to play, and more VR is more people in VR is better for everybody. So yeah,
is it
Uh,
Warmac that one of the people that won a game? He just came in and said
uh,
warning.
Yep, Warmac,
It's you, bro.
congratulations. You won a copy of Eye of the Temple. Just hit our friend Eric, Mash Daddy Cool. Hit him up on Discord after the show. There's an invitation down in the description, and he will hook you up with Eye of the Temple. Congratulations.
That's crazy.
oh, yeah, man. Hit me up. We'll take care of it.
Anyway, the success of this game obvious at this point, and I really am interested in what this is going to mean because this has the potential to be a seismic event, not only in the VR space but in gaming in general. And I want to just take you guys back to when this game was revealed during the Capcom showcase. This wasn't revealed during a VR event. This was revealed during a Capcom Resident Evil showcase, and typically uh, the main event of these types of presentation would be some kind of an announcement for an exclusive for Sony. But the very last thing that they showed during that presentation was Resident Evil 4 as an Oculus Quest exclusive. And I remember talking to you guys at the time about how this might be kind of a shot across the bow from Facebook to Sony saying, we're here, we're a real player, and look, we're in bed with your best friend. So, because Capcom and Sony have been going, they go back a long way and have been collaborating almost exclusively for years on these types of exclusives. So, for Facebook, not only to show up and land an exclusive, but to land primetime real estate during that Capcom presentation, that was a big deal. Now, fast forward to 6 months, 9 months, we get the game, and then we have our friend Paradise Decay telling us that he hears from his insider friends that this game is performing very, very well, and that Capcom is very, very pleased with how many copies that they're selling. And what that means is two things. One, it means there's a lot of Oculus Quest 2s out there, that a lot of people have already bought this headset, and more are buying it every day. And two, it means that Capcom, not only do they know that they're going to be able to sell a lot more VR games in the near future, but they also know that they don't have to go to Sony to do that anymore. And it's going to potentially change the landscape going forward. And Roots, we've said it many times, competition, even competition between studios or corporations like we're talking about here, the ones that always end up winning are us, right? The consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a big one, big win for us, because this isn't, a small studio that's pleased with the numbers. This is Capcom, and so when Capcom's happy, that means a lot of other developers are going to see it and they're going to be like, "Oh shit, man, we need to get in on this." Like Eric was saying, that the biggest thing is what's on the horizon now. Now that this is done so well, what else is out there? I see Onakaze saying he's still got his fingers crossed for VR mode of GTA Definitive Trilogy. That would be amazing. A year ago, 2 years ago, I'd say Onakaze, and I would probably almost never say this to him because he's very level-headed. He's usually one telling us, "Okay, guys, rein it in." Um,
Mhm.
we wouldn't even consider this a year or two ago. Now it actually is becoming very viable that could happen. I don't think it's likely, but my fingers are also crossed. And maybe a year from now, we're saying something new like that's coming out, and it's now a foregone conclusion that's coming to VR. There is no fingers crossed. We're getting to that day, and it's coming so fast, man. You know who else likes to come fast, Wes?
My mom!
So.
Mm. Yes, she
Well,
does.
this is what we've talked about for years. We've known that all it's going to take is getting people in headsets, getting people to experience a great game in VR. And you all know there's no way you go back after that. Like after you experience a great VR experience, nothing else is quite as good anymore. And we're getting to that point now where large amounts of people are having that experience. And how crazy is it that it's a friggin' decade old game that's bringing this experience to people?
Yeah,
Um,
it goes to show you. I mean, we say this all the time, but this is not a PC VR game. As much as we all say, "Man, this thing looks great," but we're saying this looks great because it's a standalone Quest, right? If this was PC VR, I'd be like, it's okay." But it goes to show you that you don't have to have photorealistic graphics. You don't have to have, you know, Half-Life Alex looking graphics to having a great, fun, amazing experience and fun game to play. So, you don't need to give me, the highest end of the highest end. Make it fun, make it engaging, make it challenging. Make me want to keep coming back and playing it more and more and more. I forget about what I'm playing at some point. I mean, you're in this game. I feel like I'm sitting back in front of my GameCube playing this game. But now I'm in it. I'm actually doing these things. And, I'm reloading my own weapon. I'm not hitting a button to do it. So yeah, I mean, you don't. I love PC VR, and I want to see the highest end of the highest end. But give me great gameplay. Give me great gameplay. I don't care what headset it's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring that up because correct me if I'm wrong, but originally this was a third person perspective game. Am I right?
Well, they changed this one. This was the first one where they changed the view. So Resident Evil was always set up in a certain way, and this one is the first one they kind of went with the over the shoulder view, if you remember.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. It was drawn back a little bit more. It wasn't. You know what I mean? So this was the first one that kind of changed that. And so some people loved it and some people hated it. For me, it was groundbreaking. For me, this game was a game changer for me, and that's why I loved it so much, and that's why I still love it to today. But yeah, it was definitely a change in the whole. It was because it wasn't just the style that you were talking about. It was a huge change in that because it went way more action than any other game. It was more, less puzzle and more action shooting and things like that. And you needed to change that camera style to do that. I don't think you could have the same amount of action with the same camera style. So this was kind of groundbreaking.
Right, but my point being that, originally this was a third person flat game, and now it is a first person VR game with full hand
Mm.
interactions and weapon mechanics, and it's interesting because again, this constantly gets compared to Resident Evil 7, and I'm not saying that I like this game better than RE7, but it's interesting because my whole thing is I think that RE7 is a better VR game, but this is the one with the more VR controls and the more VR style gameplay. My whole thing with Resident Evil 4 is I don't think it's the best VR game ever made. Obviously, it's a port of a flat game and it retained many of those elements just so that it could be true to the original. But what I do think it is, I think it's an all time great game in VR, and I think that's enough. Um, but with regards to the gameplay specifically, this game it feels good. Um, I would look, maybe it's I haven't finished it yet. At least up until this point, it hasn't been very challenging. Like I find it kind of easy, and I felt it was a little weird. Rich, did you think it was weird that it defaulted to having the laser sights on? I turned mine off. I felt like it was almost like shooting fish in a barrel having that laser sight turned on.
I didn't even know it was
Uh,
an option until recently. And I left it on because I like it to be easier. But it was it definitely it's weird that it is by default. You would think it'd be something that you could turn on. But one of the things that we even talked about a little bit before, that really impressed me the most about this game, which is ironic, and it's kind of a start, like I said earlier, when we were talking about Unplugged, the UI. I was so blown away by how intuitive it was, how good it was. So much so that that was the first thing that I was talking about in the Discord. It's like, man, this UI is so clean, so good. So it's one of the reasons why I point to how a professional company like Capcom, it's when they want to do it right, they're gonna do it right. They're going, all the things, all the jank that we bitched about for many years with the UIs of the VR was so valid. This game proved it. It was so good that I'm like, fuck, man, I wish every game was this good. Because the biggest thing that I hear from people when it comes to flat games coming into VR, depending, it doesn't matter which genre it is, you can't have inventory management. You need to get rid of that. We need to dumb it down so much so that it's almost boring. This was not boring, and it just everything works so well. I really was impressed by it. What do you guys think?
well, I want remind me to come back to the gameplay in a minute because there was a couple things I wanted to touch on there, but we'll talk about the UI for a minute because I do think that it is very good implementation how they've done this. I think that the resource management is fun in this game. It's a part of the game being able to you have to make room to carry everything around like physical space in your inventory, and it's not just all about um, getting rid of things so that you can have space for something else. It's about the shape, the geometric shape in your inventory. There are certain items that are long. There are certain items that have a weird shape. You have to have that shape available, or you're not able to pick that item up. So for me, that means constant inventory management. Every time I pick up a couple items, I'm reshuffling so that I can be sure that when I find that item that I want to pick up, that largemouth bass that's going to take up this big area, that I can pick it up no problem. Um, but for me, I wouldn't say that it's a perfect UI. I felt like maybe the way that you have to go into the pause menu a little bit too much for me when you have to like, for example, when you pick up something you need to read, it kicks you into the to the pause menu, and it takes about 6 lines of dialogue and stretches it out over 5 different pages. The text is so big. That's a little bit immersion breaking. And I really wish that there was a way to quickly access the map without having to go into the pause menu and scroll to it. The map is something I would use a lot more if it were easier to access. Outside of that, I thought the UI was great. Eric, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the dialogue thing again was kind of the. I mean, I don't know if they had to do that, but it was to keep it like the old one. But that's kind of like the way the old one was too. But to me, it doesn't have to be one to one. Make make decisions that make sense with this too. You keep the nostalgia level, but yeah, you're right. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. But yeah, that was like in the original flat version. It was like that with the dialogue, where it was like three lines on three different pages. It was a pain in the ass to read, but yeah, I thought the UI was great. I love the inventory management system here. But before again, it was just moving your joystick and putting stuff in spots. Now you're physically taking your hand, grabbing something, and you can turn it this way or turn it that way to make it fit better in your space. And if you put things better in your space, you can make more room. So it's not just about, okay, I have 50 spots available and I have 50 items. It's about moving things around and turning them sideways or to up or down or stacking them differently to actually make a little bit more space so you can actually fit a different item. Like you said, have it, a geometric shape that fits in with what you have. So I love this kind of stuff. I love, having to make decisions. What do I take? What do I don't take? Do I take this gem or do I take, another herb? So these are the decisions that made this game so great back then that we still love today, but now we're physically doing these things instead of button pressing, which makes them great. But yeah, I thought the AI was great. A couple of minor things here or there, but the main part of it so easy to use. All of it. I thought the map was okay. I mean, I was very used to the map from before, so popping the map up, with a quick shot. And these maps aren't, super like you can't get lost in these anyway, so it's not like you have to use the map a ton anyway. But yeah, I thought
No,
it was great.
for me, the map is about finding the merchant. It's about finding the typewriter, stuff like that. And I'm used to Resident Evil 7. You push the trackpad, the map pops up, and that's it. Maybe, maybe if you could, it defaulted to the map every time that you went into the pause menu. Maybe that would help a little bit.
You can do
Um,
that. If
but
you
the
it'll always go back to whatever you had on
Whatever you had on
last.
last, yeah.
So I always had it on my
which
map
not
set.
which 9 times out of 10 for me, it's inventory because I'm
Yeah,
constantly managing inventory. The inventory management's almost like a puzzle game, isn't it?
it is. Yeah, I love it.
It's like a Tetris style, shuffle up puzzle game.
Did it make you want to play
Um,
Tarkov, Eric? Because that's
It
how
did. You're
Tarkov
right.
is a lot. You're
Exactly.
constantly moving your inventory and shit, right?
Roots, that's perfect. I didn't even think about that until you just said so, but that's exactly what Tarkov is. I mean, because if Tarkov is what can I take and what can I fit and how do I move things around so I can get the best gear, and that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, the puzzles are pretty cool too. I mean, I don't know, man. Because I didn't play too far into this game. It's a completely new game, and I'm blown away by. I think it was Space Dennison. I'm not sure because it was so long ago when he brought it up in the chat. But somebody said they're starting New Game Plus on this, and that's another reason why it's awesome that it's Capcom and it's a AAA game because it's you can play it and then you're gonna have a harder version of it, kind of like what we want from Ven VR, right, Wes?
right, right. Yeah, exactly. Onakazi in the chat says, "I thought the pinch to zoom on the map was a nice touch." Yes, that's a good example of modernizing this classic, right? That this is a common interface that we've all gotten used to through our tablets and our smartphones. So it really was a no brainer to bring that into VR. So I agree. I thought that was cool. He also laughs about Leon just gnawing on this huge, large bass, and I thought that was funny too. The snakes and the large bass that you pick up, the chicken eggs crack me up, man. You get a golden chicken egg, it'll fill your health all the way back up. You kill a snake, you get a chicken egg. That's kind of weird. Uh, but yeah, yeah, I thought that was kind of funny as well. Um, Wolveraza says, I will use a laser on survival mode, but other than that, I tend to leave them off. Eric, did you find this game to be at all a little on the easy side? Like a lot of people are saying that it's easier now that it's in VR. I found it to be extremely easy. I've only died like 2 times, I think, maybe 3. and like two of those were me just kind of screwing around. And like for one of the times I died, I was shooting the fish at the lake. Have you done that? Have you tried to shoot the fish in the lake?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. The well, I'm not going to spoil it, but don't shoot the fish in the lake.
No.
Anyway, I found that I'm having a blast at the game. Don't get me wrong, but it is a bit easy, especially with that laser sight on.
Yeah, so like in the original, what happens, and again, different between VR and flat is in the flat game, when you went to aim, you couldn't move anymore. So you were kind of stuck in position where you were, and now you can aim with that laser and you can actually move left and right, back and forth. So you can kind of move and dodge and get out of the way, which takes some of the challenge out of that, and which makes it a little bit too easy. Which I complain about a little bit to myself, and I've heard other people complain about it too. So I don't know if there's a way to turn that off or not. I didn't really look at the menu too much in that, but
There is, but if I recall correctly, if you go to the mode that makes the gunplay more original with Leon, it also disables another feature that
Strafe.
it
You can't
shouldn't.
strafe.
Yeah, you can't
yeah.
stray for yeah.
Which
So
is a big deal because a lot of times you have these guys throwing axes at you and stuff like that, and if you're able to move, aim and move at the same time, you can kind of like, keep your shot aimed at their head and then move left or right to avoid it. So it does make a difference, you know what I mean? So especially for the challenge of it. So I mean, I remember originally this game was not easy, playing it flat, and that was part of that I loved it. I have it, it's definitely easier, but I'm still enjoying it. It's not. I would
yeah.
like a harder mode. Always, I always want choice. Um, I can see why they did it the way they did it to make it approachable. Again, this is a game that they want to have as many people as possible in. But again, give us choice. Give me a harder. Give me 3, 4 different modes. Why can't you have 4 different modes? Give me an impossible mode, or give me a survival mode, or anything like that to make me have to play it differently. Or
Oh, that's what
Yeah, well,
game plus is, right? You beat it
yeah,
through the first
exactly.
time, and you get to the second one, and everything we just said at the beginning of the podcast is valid. And I'm sure Capcom's very aware of it. If they want this game to be super successful, you don't want to make it too hard either. So they kind of made it. I mean, all they did is just bring the game over, and that's just the ability to strafe makes it that much easier. I mean, I would say the ability to use my knife and just kind of step back, wait for them to do a thing, and then go forward. I mean, it's for me. Once I figured out could use my knife, it was like changed everything, right? So
yeah. And for what it's worth, that they did an exceptional job giving people options of being able to customize this game toward different experience levels and different styles of gameplay. Again, I complain about the laser sight, but I went and turned it off, and that was that. So I use iron sights now, and I really like the gun mechanics in the game, the manual reloading. It isn't one to one perfect realistic manual reloading, but it's enough to give you that tactile feel to immerse you. And I said the same thing with Sniper Elite. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect one to one realism for me. And I think when you're talking about a borderline arcade style game such as this Roots, I think it holds doubly so that the reload mechanics are just enough to give you that immersion, but they're nerfed enough to keep the gameplay fluid and fun.
yeah, it did everything the same thing that Alex did well, and I hope every game does this. One of the best things that I love about this game, because it's not real life, and I don't need to pretend that everything's real life. When I'm done using my gun, I can just throw it. You can't drop your gun. You can't drop your knife. That's the biggest frustration in VR. When you drop something, especially for new people, and you're going to grab it and you're flustered and somebody's coming at you and you can't get your gun.
And
It's
your floor's set incorrectly and you can't even reach it.
exactly. It takes all of that out of your hands, and it's done in such an intuitive way. That's easy. It's easy to grab my gun. It's easy to grab my knife. It's easy to grab my shotgun. There's no jank. So many games we play where I go to grab my gun and I can't grab it. Again, this is what you get when you have a Capcom bringing a game over. They just took the amount of detail on all of these little things that in so many different categories. This is why it blew me away, because I've been playing so many good games that have jank in almost every one of them somewhere. It was very hard to find it. And I guess we haven't really brought that up at all. Is my biggest frustration jank wise was the cutscenes. Now you pointed out a setting, and I can't remember what the setting is, Wes, but there's one setting that takes half of them away because I used to go up a ladder with a cutscene. That doesn't happen anymore. But if I want to kick somebody, it's going into a cutscene. I'm really hoping Capcom is realizing, because there's a way that they can fix this. There's certain cutscenes I don't need to see. I don't need to see a cutscene showing me putting a ladder up and down. It's retarded. And I don't know why that doesn't add anything to it. It's just weird.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the negatives then. Yeah, I agree, and I don't know what the setting is either. I went in immediately. The first thing I did is I went through every option and tailored it to my specific taste with regards to gameplay. And I've never seen a ladder animation. Like I've never seen a ladder cutscene. When I go to a ladder, I hit the button to climb it, and then I'm magically at the top. No cutscene, which is fine. Obviously, we would all like to climb a few of the ladders, but it's not a big deal to me. I really don't care. Um, the cinematic cutscenes I like. Like I don't mind watching 2D cutscenes to get parts of the story. That's fine. The graphics are beautiful in it. The fact that it's not 3D 360. Again, these are very small sequences that are few and far between. I don't mind that whatsoever. What bothers me, uh, when I jump out a window, I have to watch a cutscene for that. When I kick somebody, which is a bigger part of this game than I would like for it to be. But you have to kick, and when you do it, you jump out of your body. That's extremely jarring. It doesn't make you uncomfortable from a sickness perspective, but it does break the immersion quite a bit. I don't like that at all. Um, Eric, what's your stance on these cutscenes? Like, I think that it's okay for certain things, and then there are other things that's not okay at all.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, are they ideal? They're not ideal. They're not perfect. I don't care. I don't mind them at all. It didn't bother me at all. I didn't get into the game and go, oh no, not another cutscene. Not once did I say that. I'm like, okay, I'm going get me through the story. Get me through. Now, I did turn off the things that you guys said. You don't. I don't want to have to see it every time I put kick a ladder down or I have to put a ladder back up. But they gave you the option to put it in or take it out, which is great. I mean, that's what I want. Give me the option. So yeah, I mean, some things didn't make sense, but again, it never bothered me. I have hear so many people like, "Oh my God, the cutscenes! Oh my God, the cutscenes!" To me, I'm thinking about the amazing game I'm playing, and if I got to put up with a little bit of a cutscene here or there, again, I get. It's not 90% of the game. You know what I mean? 90% of the game is fantastic. If you give me 5%, I got to sit through a cutscene that maybe pulls me out of the immersion a little bit. I'm okay with that. The kick, I mean, the kick is the kick. It would be more jarring for people if you made them spin in first person to make that kick than it would be to pull them out of a cutscene. So I can kind of see why they would do it that way.
It doesn't have to be a spin kick, does it? I mean, we all played Path of the Warrior. You can kick
Yeah.
people in VR without jumping out of your body.
No, again, it's just again, if you're trying to stay to the original, that's the way the original was. It
Right,
was he
right,
had the spin
gotcha.
kick and he had a move where he did like a jump kick where he went straight up with his knee into the face, and that was like, and again, those were big
Yeah,
things back then because they were kind of groundbreaking, action cut, sequences where you pressed and had to hit something at a certain time. So yeah, I mean, I see where they did them. I hate when people complain about things to complain about things. You know what I mean? They're making the cut scenes out to be way worse than they are.
oh yeah,
Uh,
Well,
it's
okay,
certainly
it's definitely not as bad as maybe some people say, but if you didn't turn that setting off in the beginning of the game, my first thought when I was for the first 5 minutes was, "What the fuck, dude?" Because it was every 2 seconds I was having a cutscene for ladder. It really was like Skiva said. There's a lot of cutscenes. Now once I got rid of that setting, it was a lot better. But I don't think it's something that it broke the game, but it's just there's some of those things they just don't need to necessarily be there. Like I said, for me, and I believe this still exists even with that setting. I'm on top of a roof. It wants to go into a cutscene with me knocking a ladder down, and then I jump
Yeah.
down. And if I want to put the ladder, I've got to go to a cutscene to put it back up. It's just not necessary. You know what I mean? And there are things that, like Wes said, when I get into a game like this and I'm getting on a roll, the last thing I need is one more thing to pull me out of immersion, whether it's like an extra cutscene that doesn't need to be there or not. It's just I don't want it. I don't want to see that kick per se. Not at least. If I'm doing it a lot, I'm definitely going to be pulled out a lot. So I don't know. It's kind of it's just the one thing that I think that they could adjust. Give me an option to take out the extra cutscenes for the outside of the story. I don't need, just like the ladder. I didn't need to see myself in a cutscene climbing up the ladder. Just teleporting to the top was enough for me. So
Roots, what did you think about the quick time event? So, a zombie, maybe you missed, maybe you didn't hit it quite as good as you thought. The guy gets its hand on you. Um, you're going to take damage, but in order to keep yourself from just dying outright, cutscene, and you have to do my mom's favorite thing, to get out of it. This happens a lot, and it breaks the immersion quite a bit for me. What say you?
yeah, it's another cutscene because I got to shake it real quick, and then he does a kick and knocks him back. I mean that
And
did.
and to be clear, if you have to have the quick time event, I think they did it the best way that they could. Like that, it was a pretty good way to come up with to do it. But in those specific examples where a zombie's grabbing you, you know, the mid cinematic quick time events, I get keeping those in there. But every time a zombie grabs you, uh, it doesn't have to cut to a cutscene. You could stay in first person mode and struggle to get free just the same without jumping out of your body. That's all I'm saying here with
Yeah,
this.
that's true. And there is an option which I didn't even know. I was reading. You can set it to where you can either shake or you can do the triggers. Couple hitting the triggers a bunch if you don't want to be shaking it a lot. So yeah, it's just again unnecessary. This it's the things that maybe that's one thing that they didn't foresee is like at least for people that are into VR like we are, we want to be immersed. We don't want to have anything pulling us out. And granted, some things are going to pull us out just because that's just real life. You might even think about a bill you got to pay and it's going to pull you out. You just can't stop that. I just don't need 15,000 things pulling me out in an entire situation. And maybe your nostalgia, Eric, maybe that's why it doesn't bother you as much because you've played it so many times. You're expecting those cutscenes every time, so it's like no big deal. But for someone that wasn't expecting them every 5 seconds, it was like too much. That's so much so that when I switched that setting, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders when I play, and I only took some of them away. I still have some of the cutscenes left, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely not ideal. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's definitely something to complain about there. I just think it's light. You know what I mean? I think
Oh yeah.
it's a minor thing that I mean people are just I just don't want people to make it out to be way more than it is. I
Well,
mean I
I agree with
so
that.
many people going nuts about the cutscenes like it's like it kills the game because that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing oh it destroys the whole game, and I just don't think that's the case. I mean they're not ideal for sure. I mean they're I wish they had done them differently. But to me they just didn't, and I played it both ways. I mean of course I did turn it off when I wanted to turn it off, but I originally I played it the way it is right out of the gate with them on, and it did bother me, but I could have left it on and played the whole game like that, and I would have been fine. But it's nice to have the option again. Give me the option, let me turn it off, and they did that, so I was happy with it.
Well, hopefully they do that
Right.
with the other ones as well, because they still could patch some of these cutscenes out, and I
Sure.
believe it would make the game better, not worse. It's definitely an amazing game. I don't think it's a game breaker to have these cutscenes in the way they are. I just think
Mhm.
from an immersion standpoint, it definitely hinders the game a little bit. So,
It makes the game more arcadey than it has to be. Like it's an arcade gameplay style already, and that's fine. I like arcade gameplay styles, but it makes it seem more arcadey when you're doing constantly doing all these little gimmicks to get the check mark on the screen. You know what I mean? Like I don't need a check mark, bro. Like I can figure out that I'm not dead. Um, but now that we got that out, I think that was the majority of the negatives revolve around that. What Eric's saying is correct. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just through the spirit of being complete here. We have to address the bad along with the good. But let's get back to the gameplay, which is what makes it so good. Eric, uh, as is always the case with Resident Evil, a great selection of weaponry to use in this game. Different uh, guns for different gameplay styles. It doesn't matter if you like to bum rush your enemies. You can do so with your shotgun and your knife. If you want to hang back mid range, you've got a submachine gun and a pistol. Or if you're like me and you like to take enemies out from as much distance as possible, they have a very serviceable long distance rifle, which I absolutely am coming to love. What do you think about the different variety of weapons, and what's your favorite?
Yeah, mine's probably the shotgun. I love the up close. I love the damage it can do, and then some of the upgrades you get with the shotgun later are amazing. I think there's like three different shotguns you can get in there, and you can upgrade each one of them. So yeah, I love the shotgun. It feels good. Sometimes I hate shotguns in VR because the pump action doesn't work properly always, and a lot of times you go to do it and it misses or it doesn't register. Always seems to work here with this one. I like the mechanic.
Smooth, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wish you would had to load, for the reloading on the shotgun, it's one shell loads the whole thing, which is, okay. I wish I could have loaded the whole thing. Let me load every round and make it a little bit more realistic. But again, didn't bother me. I mean, like, okay, you get used to it, and bam, you hit one load, and you're ready to fire again. So it didn't bother me at all. But yeah, the shotgun's probably my favorite. And you know what I kept thinking, guys, was, can you imagine if they had this UI and this system and this gameplay in a game that we just played earlier, which is Survive?
oh God,
How much more enjoyable would that game been? If they
Yeah,
could have
man.
taken that jank out of that, take the mechanics of this game, put it in that setting with four-player co-op. Holy crap, man.
yeah,
Two dudes with no budget.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's
that's the
why. I
difference,
mean,
right?
Yeah,
this is a
yeah, but
Capcom release, and
but
that's two
again,
dudes.
that's why we need this game to do well. Because if we want those other things, we need a company like Capcom to say, let's put this game in and make it, let's do something different and make a four-player co-op like this. That's amazing, and I'm hoping after the fall is that game, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I kind of appreciated the simplicity with reloading the shotgun. A lot of times, I think reloading shotguns is a bit tedious, and in a firefight, it can be very frustrating. And I got to imagine this game would probably be the same way because if I'm reaching for my shotgun in this game, there's a mob. I don't just reach for it just because there's a guy. Like there's 10 guys. That's why I get my shotgun, and it really is a nice contrast because your base weapon is your pistol, and when you're using your pistol, the enemies are kind of bullet sponges. Like you can use a whole clip on an enemy just to get one out of there. But when you got your shotgun, you can just melt these dudes' heads, and it's very satisfying. Again, the audio, it really is a highlight here with the weapons. The weapons sound real, and it really adds to the immersiveness of it. So I do dig the shotgun, but it's not the one that I carry on my back. I carry my rifle on my
Mm.
back. Roots, what say you on the weapons?
I haven't gotten as many. I missed the shotgun the first time and didn't even know. People were saying, "Oh, it's you missed in the one of the first houses in the beginning in the second level." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Well, I ended up having to buy mine, and that's one of the things that I thought was cool is the fact that you can't. Because I was collecting money for so long, and I'm like, What am I using? This is pointless, dude. I'm finding gems. I'm finding money. There ain't no shit then I found the guy that sells stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, because not only, and this is AAA, this is what draws you back in. Not only can I buy my guns, but like you were saying, Eric, I can upgrade my guns. So they got this like a Vice thing. You put it in there, and now you can upload, your power and all these other things. So there's so many things to focus on, and that's just, for me, one weapon. I'm on my gun focusing on it. I can get my shotgun, and there's 3 different types, and there's just so many different types of weapons, grenades, whatever it is. Every game style, every play style that you want to do is here. Like Wes has already gravitated towards his favorite, which is one with a sight, right? Kind of a sniping,
Right.
right? Um,
And it's interesting that you bring up the upgrade guy because I've made full use of him. Um, I like to use the long distance rifle, and it does come with a scope that kind of zooms mid range by default. And as is the case with a lot of VR scopes, it's a little shaky. And then you have the opportunity to upgrade it with a high powered scope, which obviously is going to magnify that shakiness a little bit. So it's not the easiest thing to use out of the box. So you know what I did? I grabbed the Mr. Tasselhoff quick
mm,
aim attachment. I didn't use like the full on mini stock. I used the quick aim one that only attaches
to
to
one
one
side.
controller, and it completely stabilized my long distance rifle shooting and made it way easier.
Mm.
Um, with that said, it does take a little bit of getting used to because most of the game you're using both of your hands and you're swiping with knives and stuff. But it worked very well for levels like the swamp, where you can see a lot of enemies from a long distance. There's a lot of jewels and things that you can shoot out of the mountainside. Having that 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 quick aim attachment from Mr. Tasselhoff actually saved me quite a bit of ammo. So
Let me
kudos to
make
that
this
guy.
point here.
Cool.
Onikazi's got a really good point, and we've danced around this all night long talking about this game. Armature Studios is the one who handled the port of this game,
Yep,
right? So we keep
that's right.
saying Capcom, which Capcom has done their amazing part of it, but we got to give our kudos to Armature Studios as well, correct?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I did shout them out earlier. This is 100% Armature Studio. They were given guidance from Capcom and Facebook, but this is 100% developed by Armature Studio. So,
Yep.
yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah.
When I say we need more of this, I mean the money for Capcom. It wasn't Capcom that did the work. Armature did the work. But
Right.
when I
Right.
say we need more, I mean we need more funded because if this wasn't for Capcom, number one, they own the license, but number two,
Absolutely.
what company can afford to put the money in like Capcom can?
Right.
But Capcom does deserve some credit here too, because it is their quality standard that they held out Armature to.
Mm.
I'm sure they gave Armature a lot of guidance and how to make this into a AAA quality game. So I think they both deserve some commendation here.
Mm.
Um, it's not the first game we've gotten from Armature, but it's surely the first one that we're really going to remember, right?
Yeah. So let me ask you this because we haven't brought this up yet. Cost $40. Do you think it's worth $40? Because Ruuts seal of approval says $40 is actually an amazing price for it. It's definitely worth $40 all day long, to me anyway.
100% must own title, game of the year, instant game of the year contender. And I'll tell you why. We've talked a lot about here with the gameplay, we've talked a lot about the shooting and shooting mechanics because it's such an action oriented game. But it is a bit easy, it is a bit arcadey. Uh, but luckily for someone like me, that's only half of the gameplay because like most Resident Evil games, and this is the thing that really made me fall in love with the franchise. There is a ton of exploration in this game. There's stuff to find everywhere. I love a game that rewards people who are patient and thorough by giving them an easier path forward. And this game absolutely does that. There's stuff hidden everywhere, from power ups to ammo to
Shotguns.
to va- to valuables that you can sell to the merchant so that you can upgrade your rifle with that awesome stock and not have to worry about money. Um, I have examined every inch of every map that I've been in this game, and that has been at least half of the fun for me. It's the reason why I'm moving through it so slowly. Like I guarantee it's taking me twice as long as it's taking you guys, but I love it. I love it for that reason, and 100% recommend it. $40 from me.
Yeah, little side missions too, right? Like you gotta, if you collect shoot these amulets, so many of these amulets, you're gonna get a hidden, a special weapon, or things like that. And there's always extra stuff you can do, and that was always part of the first one too. So you want to find out what's this extra weapon he's gonna give me, and if I do this thing. So yeah, I mean, definitely, there's exploration in this one for sure. But what I was gonna say was, this is what is fantastic about this show, because here's the deal. I did love this game. This was one of my babies. This is one of the games I played through probably the most, more than any other game before. So maybe I'm a little bit skewed on the way that I'm thinking about this one. But you guys haven't, and you guys are playing this game for the first time ever in VR. And if it was no good, you would say it's no good because I got no beef in the game. I've never played it before. So this is amazing, where you can find three different people who have three different points of views on this. So you can say, okay, maybe, if I don't have any nostalgia, would I still like this game? Well, Wes and Roots still love this game. If I do have nostalgia, will I like this game? I love this game. It's true to its roots. So $40 is a steal for this game, and it definitely jumps to the, you know, near the top for discussion for game of the year for Quest game for me.
You could even go further and say, Wes is a horror fan and he loves Resident Evil, so of course he's going to love it. Well, what about Roots? Roots may
Yeah.
not, just because it's Resident Evil or horror doesn't mean he's going to love it. I love it because it's amazing. I love it because when I get in there and I'm exploring, I genuinely want to see what's coming up next. Where do I go? What am I going to find? What gun am I going to find? What zombies are going to be there? What's the story going to tell me? All of these things that come in this AAA bow that now is in VR is drawing me more into this game than I've ever been. I own this game um, on the GameCube, and I could have told you I saw the beginning village part where I had to sneak around. That's it. My son played it. I didn't. I'd say I just really am impressed with this game, and I think it's a must buy for sure.
100%. Eric, two questions. First of all, how many of those amulets did you get out of the 15?
7.
Me too.
How many?
Far.
7?
7 so far.
Have you found the cemetery? That's the thing. I have not. So
Yeah. Oh, you haven't even made it. Wow. Okay. Um,
Mhm.
I've got 14. I've got 14 of them. There was one I couldn't find on the farm, and it's pissing me off. I don't know where it's at. And
mm,
you probably know, if you've got 7, you probably know exactly where it's at. But I don't, and it made me angry. But I did get my weapon from the merchant, um,
that's all that
and
matters.
it's bread. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my bread and butter now. Like
Yeah.
it's
See.
my go-to. Second question, the merchant offers up a treasure map, and I have I have restrained from buying it because I don't want it to tell me where everything is at. Does the treasure map tell you where like all the ammo and like all the herbs and all that stuff is, or is it just a treasure map that tells you where you can find gems and things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to find unless you had that map? Because I know in Resident Evil 7, I'm very thorough. Like not much gets by me. There are certain things that I would have never found had I not taken stimulants, which which illuminate where these items are. They're that well hidden. You have to be told where they're at to find them. Is that the function of the treasure map, or is it a cheat guide for people who don't want to take the time to look for things?
It doesn't give you all of them. You still have to go and you still have to find your herbs. You still have to break boxes. You still got to go through and break, the crates and vases and stuff like that. So it'll give you a few of the bigger, gems and things like that, or collectibles that you want to find.
Is it going to
But
spoil? Is it going to spoil the exploration if I buy that thing?
You're ruined.
you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. Go look for it. That's I didn't buy. I never bought it either.
I didn't buy it either. That's kind of crazy.
You're gonna, yeah, you just don't need it, and you're gonna want to look for these things because you guys know in this game it's all about ammo. holding on to your ammo and finding more ammo. So, and that's not going to show you where ammo is. You need to find ammo for this game. So, you're going to explore for ammo anyway. So, I think you're better off just not buying it.
Let
Yeah,
me
it was
ask you this.
my only.
Okay.
I was gonna say my only concern with it was that there were, like Resident Evil 7, that there are items hidden that you just can't find unless you know specifically what rock to look under, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's mainly just giving you stuff to sell. So it'll help you find some of the you know how you can find like the amulets or
yeah.
the gems and or some of the collectibles. It's going to show you.
Spinel.
That's my question
Yeah,
for you
that's,
guys.
hell yeah. No.
I feel stupid. Okay. I feel like somebody that's been, and I'm assuming this is correct, this thought process. I feel like somebody that's been walking around homeless, broke, with like a Van Gogh in my, like I've never sold any of the gems. I assumed they went straight into cash. You got to sell your gems and gold bars and all that stuff, or is that? Oh my god, dude! How much money am I walking around with, dude? I was thinking I couldn't buy all these things, and I'm rich, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, the gold bars are just money. You don't have to sell those. But the amulets, the gems, all of
Oh
these
god.
valuables that you find, you have to sell. And what you do is when you click sell and it brings up your weapons and shit, you'll notice at the top there's a thing that says treasures. You click on
Mm.
that and it brings up your treasure
Oh god.
inventory and you can unload it on that guy. Now there's certain ones like the cup and like the face mask. There's certain ones that have slots in them, and you can find gemstones to insert into those slots that make those items more
Oh
valuable.
my
So
god.
you want to hold on to those. But like the spinels, you want to sell all those. You can't use those for anything else. And there are certain things like the pocket watch. You sell that. It's not, you can't do anything else with it. But yeah, a lot of that stuff's worth a lot of money. I sold a ruby for like 10 or 12,000 currency
So
last time I played.
I'm so pissed, dude. You know how much I went, said somebody told me about the shotgun. So I tried to go back. I found the guy. I upgraded my gun and then didn't have enough money. So I went all the way back to the end, gathered money, went all the way back to buy shit. Only was able to buy my shotgun. I could have bought all sorts. I feel used. Yeah, it's
Yep.
like who does like to get used, Wes?
My
Yep.
mom!
Yeah, I don't.
You're
I
probably
tell you,
loaded though, man. You're probably loaded. You're sitting on all these treasures that
I know.
you
I
can.
am. I feel rich already. Like I can feel it in
there's
my
there's
blood.
other stuff. There's other stuff you can collect too and sell. Like you can sell chicken eggs, you can sell bass,
Yep.
uh,
Oh wow.
stuff that
You can sell the
that
chicken
are
eggs?
easily.
Oh God, I
Yeah,
got a
Absolutely.
whole bunch of those. I feel like I'm a New Yorker. I'm rich, bro. I'm rich.
you're rich in chicken eggs, right?
Yeah. In chicken eggs
You
for
can
sure.
also. I always sell the flash grenades too because they're pretty fucking useless. So
Yeah, they
why
are.
not sell them?
Yeah, that's true. And I don't like being flashed myself whenever I throw that grenade. The only good thing is that if you want to run by a bunch of zombies, that's it. But at that point,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you one thing we didn't touch on before we check out here is the way you throw grenades. With me, a lot of the issues I have in VR, especially when you're dealing with suboptimal tracking, you've got inside out tracking, and sometimes when you draw back to throw a grenade, you lose tracking, and the grenade goes straight into the ground. Happens a lot in VR. Well, this game solves that because when your controller goes out of view, a trajectory path for the grenade comes up, and then all you have to do is let it go. Yeah, and it throws it for you exactly where you're looking. Kind of cheating, but in this specific case, I appreciated having the ability to do that because you can really place some of these incendiary grenades and burn up mobs of people at once. And I thought that was cool. I thought it was fun.
yeah, as intended. That's what this game does the best. Is they brought this game as it was intended into VR, with minimal changes, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I think
Simplex
they found a
joining us.
happy
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just saying
I think so too. In most cases, I think so too. I think that the gameplay is phenomenal. The gunplay's fun. The audio and tactile reload mechanics really build the immersion. The enemies, as easy as the game is, it's not easy to drop an enemy. You really have to put a lot of work into each one, and when you got a mob after you, you really got to move around and think in order to keep from doing this a lot. um, with that said, I think we kind of gave the bottom line on this one already. We all think it's a must-own title for anyone who has a Quest 2 out there. One last thing. Um, it seems like there could be a little bit of Apple style trickery going on here on the part of Facebook. We all assumed that this game is Quest 2 exclusive because Quest 1 can't run it. Modders have since shown us that that is complete bullshit. Not only can Quest 1 run this, pretty much just as good as Quest 2, but the Quest 2 is locked at 72 hertz and a lower resolution. You can go into side quest, put it to 90 hertz, up the resolution, and it doesn't even hitch, doesn't lose a frame. So this game is intentionally being held back on Quest 2 by Facebook and from Quest 1 by
Mm.
Facebook. And I think that's kind of shitty.
Yeah, I mean, it's they want to push the Quest 2, right? And they want Quest 1 to die. And anybody that has a
Seems
Quest,
that way.
yeah, well, and
Just
anybody that has a Quest 2 and is
yeah,
like, that's fine. Well, guess
yeah.
what? The next iteration is going to kill your Quest 2, and it may be sooner than you think. So, this is the way technology is
Yeah.
flowing, man. It is moving like no time in history, and it's only picking up speed. And especially with AI, I guarantee you the algorithms, the things that they can feed into these AIs, the problems they can solve already now in a short amount of time compared to just a year ago, is just amazing. So
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when you
It
talk
just makes
about Quest 2, it's like today you have this cutting edge tech in your in your hand. It's cutting edge. It's amazing, and I bet it's going to be tomorrow that it's going to seem like just yesterday that this thing was amazing, and
literally,
now it's outdated.
literally tomorrow
yeah.
Literally
or
tomorrow.
I was,
today.
yeah, I was gonna say though, they just need to come out and say these things. They make themselves look like shit when they do these things. It's so stupid. Just come out and say, you know what, we don't want it to run. We need to move on from the Quest One. We're moving on. Everybody knew that they were eventually going to move on from the Quest One. It's not a big shock. I mean, it does definitely sucks for the people that have the Quest One, but you have to eventually move on. Just like it with anything else, you got to move on eventually. Just come out and say it. And again, you're gonna take shit for it, okay? And when you really say it, but then you don't look like like you're
You're
trying to
shady.
underhand it. Yeah, yeah. They just make themselves look like shit when they do this stuff.
Yeah.
It's technology. You can't hide anything anymore, man.
Yeah,
Privacy is
exactly.
dead, and it goes both ways. It's not just our privacy that's dead, it's theirs too. There is no more privacy. You can't hide shit. It's all in the code. It's the reason why we've known these headsets are coming for 2 months because it's all in the code. And yeah, I feel for the 5 people out there who are still playing on Quest 1, but apparently that it didn't have to be that way.
Well, you even
Yeah,
said yourself to me the other day, or to us the other day, Wes, that some people that have swore up and down they were never going to get this game on Quest One went out and bought a Quest Two, and that's what happened. My friend, in real like that, helps build my computer, comes and fixes things when things go wrong. I told you guys that he didn't have a Quest Two, really wasn't interested, had his Rift S, was fine. And then I brought up this game and that it was Quest 2 only, and he owned it within 24 hours. So it's making people rethink what they thought was they were going to do really quickly.
Yeah, and to be clear, I have no issue with exclusives and platform exclusives. I think they're good, but we shouldn't pretend like things are different than what they actually are. Like, I don't understand for the life of me why they've you know set the settings back intentionally on the Quest 2 version for people. Like we can go into side quest, bro, and make it do what we want. So what are you doing?
Unless they wanted to just, at 72 hertz, it's going to run flawless for every single person, no matter what you do. Once you start to bump it up to 90 and you're increasing this and that, you might have a hiccup that other people would won't overlook. You and me and Eric, we're so used to everything. We won't even see it. Although I don't think it sounds like it runs flawless. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried it, but that's what
I mean,
people are saying. That's what the article I read said. So I guess we'll find out soon, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna try it as soon as I get home.
Anyway, I think I think this one's pretty thoroughly done. I think we've covered all aspects. Any questions? You guys leave it in the comments down below. I think that we all pretty much love this game. That we're going to continue playing it, even now that the content is done. We might even stream it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you're not going to want to miss it. If I do, be sure you hit that big red button. Be sure you hit the thumbs up and hit that bell to stay up with all of our content, guys. Did I mention that this probably the last virtual show we're ever gonna do?
That's crazy,
Like
dude.
this very well could be the very
What?
last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, progress, bro.
Rest in
Things
peace.
Move
have
on.
to move on. It's been a
Say
good
bye,
run.
question one.
You know, people people cried about the Monday show going away,
Mm.
but we somehow managed to make it work, and I'm sure that we'll continue to do the same going forward. Good times ahead, friends. You're not going to want to miss it. All because of our friends who are supporting us through donations, either here on YouTube or through Patreon. You'll find a link in the description below to our Patreon. $3 per month gives you access to exclusive content, our weekly show notes, insider updates, all for less than $1 a week. And it goes to help us build our vision for what we want this channel to be, and we're about to take a major step in that direction. All thanks to you. So thanks to everyone who's supporting us already. Thanks to everyone who clicks on the videos and watches us, and especially thanks to everyone who shares with their friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
Paradise Decay sliding in at the last minute says, "Morning, friends. Morning, Paradise Decay."
PD, thanks for coming by and saying hello. Just as we are signing off, one more thing, the conversation does not have to stop here. It goes 24/7 in the Virtual Strangers Discord. Again, invitation in the description down below. If you won a key on today's episode, Discord's how to get a hold of us. That's where we're at. Just drop us a line on there and we'll be with you shortly, I assure you. And congratulations again to all the winners.
And Mash, I'm
Yeah.
sorry you got to get up in a couple hours to go to Disney, bro. Like, that's so much rougher than my job that I got to go
I'm
to.
taking tomorrow off.
Yeah,
Taking tomorrow off. There's too
yeah.
much going on tomorrow, man.
Oh,
Too
I
much
got
going
you.
on
That's
tomorrow.
right. Yeah, you're gonna hang out and watch the Facebook show from the hotel, right? Or you get your mom, your wife, well, your wife and kids are
Yeah,
probably still going to Disney though, right?
yeah,
Or
we're doing a
kid.
down day tomorrow. They'll go to the
Okay.
pool,
Okay.
and I'll be watching Facebook Connect all day.
Cool.
And by the way, guys, maybe you didn't win a game on today's episode. Maybe you didn't enter because you don't have PCVR and you only have a Quest to play on. Uh, I have a strong premonition that if you tune into next week's episode, that we might just have just the thing for you. As it turns out, a very popular Oculus Quest game is about to get a very substantial update, and this studio happens to be friends of the channel, and they may or may not have given us a few keys to give away. So tune in next week when that update goes live, and maybe we'll have a copy for you. One of the best games on Quest Roots, and we're going to be giving it away next week.
Oprah gets to come back. Wow, man, Oprah's starting to come around a lot more, right?
Well, it is the season, Roots.
That's right. That's right.
Love that girl.
Anyway, with all that said, friends, we'd like to thank you all. We'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For my friends here, Eric and Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye.
Take it easy.
See you later.